We should be live.
Groovy. I'll just wait a moment. Get the link. Tweet this sucker out. And we'll get started. Refresh. Faster. There we go. There she is. Big as life and twice as ugly. Tweeted. Let me just retweet and we'll get going. So for those of you who are watching right now, we will just be playing with Burn, Spiral, and Piff. Unfortunately, Squee and Kriana are unable to make it due to personal reasons. But we are going to continue on bravely, and hopefully they can join us next week. Give me just one more mo. No, I don't. How do I retweet? There we go. How do I internet? All right, Roll20 is up. My notes are up. So, do you guys need a refresher, or do you pretty much remember where we left off?
I'm pretty sure I remember where we left off.
We're right in front of a limo, if I remember.
Yeah, that's right. Just outside the Mackenzie's estate. When you're going to your vehicle, you were stopped by a long, sleek black limousine. And accompanied with your newest ally sent by Tyrath, the tattooed woman, the man made of obsidian, and the smaller statured monk individual, you were stopped by none other than Miss Johnson. So, as the window rolls down, and she stops and speaks with you, she gestures to the three new companions of yours, the tattooed woman, the monk, and the obsidian man. And she says, "If you please, get inside the limousine. We need to have ourselves a little chat." To which the three newcomers look to each other, look at her slowly and skeptically, and then look to the party, Patrick, Tom, and Lavin.
Tom's already going to get into the car.
Miss Johnson raises a hand and she says, "Not you, not just yet. We will need to have a chat, but I want to speak with those three first."
Oh. Well, you might want to talk to her. I got a feeling she's got a lot of information for you guys.
Okay, says the smaller monk individual. And sure enough, they open up the limousine door and enter. Soon, a small plume of cigarette smoke escapes Miss Johnson's window before the window itself is rolled up. You stand outside in the cool night air for approximately 5 minutes. You can hear the very low mutterings, the lighter voice of Miss Johnson, and the gruffer voices of your three new companions, but you're not able to make out any specific words. You can tell, however, that the conversation does seem civil, and it doesn't sound like anyone's really raising their voices, although there seems to be some pretty long pauses from time to time. After approximately 5 minutes, the passenger limo door soon opens up, and the three individuals, the tattooed woman, the obsidian man, and the monk-like smaller humanoid, emerge. They scoot off to one side of the sidewalk, making room for the rest of the party to enter. The window once again rolls down, and you can see the sleek hand of Miss Johnson and a beckoning finger towards the limousine before the window once again rolls up after another plume of smoke escapes it.
All right.
I'm assuming that gesture was towards us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
You assume correctly, my friend.
Well, Patrick would look over to the group remaining that was beckoned in and probably say, I have a sneaking suspicion this is her home. We should probably at least talk with her and be amenable to her requests.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if she wanted us dead, I don't think this would be the way she'd go about it, so let's see what she has to say.
Yep.
You hear a small snicker come from the tattooed woman as when Lavin says, if she wanted us dead, this wouldn't be the way, before you head towards the limousine. Opening up the door and assembling inside, you can find the interior of the limousine is relatively spacious. It can fit the four of you, the three of you plus Al, relatively easily. You are pretty much all crowded on one side, however, with Miss Johnson sitting in the seats across from you. The seats are made from a very soft, supple, dark leather. And across from you, with the small glow of a single lamp at the center of the limousine, it casts some picturesque shadows upon her attractive face. She is dressed in a sleek nightgown, not nightgown, but a sleek evening dress with these light-colored, or I guess, light-colored, so to speak, in this gray world, gloves resting on her hands. Her light-colored hair obfuscates half of her face, and her dazzling eyes lock on you. In her hand is one of those cigarette holders, the ones that are kind of the long stick wand-like things with the little cigarette at the tip of it. And she is in the midst of changing the cigarette on the tip to a fresh one. As she looks over to you all, and she says, "You're having a fine evening, I trust?"
Not really.
I'm sorry to hear that. But how about your club, the Rhapsody? How is that treating you?
Are you for real right now? We're here to talk about our club?
Yes, we have to have a friendly conversation. I want to know how you're doing in all this, she says as she finishes affixing a fresh cigarette and lighting it up, as she looks over towards you all with her bright, inquisitive eye.
Well, I'm nervous, confused,
Mm-hmm.
and honestly, I haven't been in so much danger in my life. I've been in some pretty sticky situations.
I am very sorry to hear that, she says. But I hope, that you'll come out of this A-okay. You seem to be a resourceful group of individuals with some significant resources on your own. So let's just say I'm rooting for you to come out on top.
Now, why would you be rooting for us? Nobody else here seems to be.
Well, she says, I'm not typically supposed to get attached to newcomers such as yourself, but I personally feel somewhat responsible for you. Perhaps it's a small emotional attachment. Perhaps I just really admire your pluck and enthusiasm. Or perhaps it's your adventurous spirit. Either way, whether it be admiration or protection, I have to admit, like I said, I'm kind of rooting for you. But
that's good to know.
Now, just because I have some general moral support doesn't mean I am a dear ally or anything like that. I spoke with your new friends there, and they let me know of your current objectives, why you're here, and although I will not stand in the way, I absolutely cannot assist you in your particular task. But I just wanted to take this moment, since we haven't spoken since your new club opened up. I wanted to see how you were and make sure everyone was on the same page.
Well, I'm pretty sure we're not on the same page. And then if we are on a page, I don't know what page that is.
I'm sorry to hear that. What vexes you, Mr. Planter?
Well, what's your stake in all this? Where do you fit in?
She says, now. She runs her tongue along her teeth for a moment before taking another inhale, and she says, I could tell you that I have absolutely no stake in this, that I'm simply a humble member and employee over at the Velda City Bank, although it's quite clear that isn't entirely the truth. But what I can say is that I have no interest in impeding you or harming you in any way. I'm here just to simply make sure that the boat isn't rocked, things aren't disturbed too greatly, and an equilibrium is maintained. I cannot go into any more detail, you understand, but I'm here just to make sure everyone abides by the most important rules of this place. And so far, although you have flirted against the edge, you have maintained the most important rules, and therefore I have no interest in impeding you. I informed your newcomers of the new rules, and for now, they will be sticking with you and in your new club, the Rhapsody. Unfortunately, a few of them, as much as we like to welcome as many people to this place, they will stand out far too much, even with the appropriate attire and mannerisms. So, for the most part, unless they stick to the shadows or leave Velda City itself or some of the more wild areas, they will have to stay outside of view of the public eye. They have agreed to this, and I'll make sure they keep to their promise. I'm simply going to ask you, since you all seem to be working together, to also maintain that sense of composure.
Okay.
Okay.
Why are you
Okay.
so upset, Mr. Planter?
I
Hello?
might be
Did
able
you
to
hear me?
guess. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I might be able to guess. You speak of rules, and
Mhm.
we have tried our best to find out what those are without reading them,
Mm-hmm.
but we are having difficulty from our newest experiences to understand what the line we are supposed to not cross.
Well, she says, tell you what, if you cross the line, I will give you a very nice reminder. I promise you I will not be violent or threatening, but a simple warning or two. How's that? That'll make you feel better.
Um, Let me, without explicitly asking you what the rules are, because I think that is one of the rules. Um,
Her eyes twinkle a little bit, and a small smile begins to perk along the side of her mouth.
so, these nice gentlemen we've been meeting in these places,
Mm-hmm.
they have been doing things called black magic,
Mm.
and they don't seem to be punished for such things. I'm assuming that is part of the rules, that it is kosher for such things.
Yes, practicing forms of magic is not explicitly against the rules. That is a correct assumption.
It is good to know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, no problem.
Like, I actually when when Tom said okay, and I was like okay, I gestured so wildly, I knocked my seal thing
I'm glad
off
I
my
brought you
table.
immersed.
No, see, wait. I knocked it off of my table. It bounced off my computer and landed on my power bar's off switch, and just everything went out.
Shit.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's good.
Oh, man.
I picked up your slack, I think.
That's
But
called going into character.
I'll let you interject now, Lavin.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, why? What's the problem? And how is us entering this melee with these people supposed to maintain an equilibrium? Like, I don't understand.
She says, well, I will admit it's been a little bit disruptive, but we've had much larger, I guess you could say, clashes of forces here. The important thing is that the rules are still maintained during this, and so far, nothing has been broken. Unfortunately, there has been some loss of life. But there are greater mechanisms in which to deal with that, in which you, in fact, are one of.
Did that make sense to anyone else?
She's saying we're the good guys. I'm guessing. And he's going to turn to her, right?
She gives a bit of a smirk and she says, it would be really improper of me to put in a moral obligation, but I can say yes, you seem to be the people. If you see something wrong happening, you tend to take action to stop it. It might be one of the other reasons why I admire you so. Unlike the others who have personally come to me asking for my interjection, I have refused them, of course, because you have not broken any rules, and it would be extremely unfair. And it would cross a line that I'm not willing to cross.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess my problem is less that from the sounds of it, I don't have a problem with you or anything like that. I'm just really confused.
I'm very happy to hear that. She says, I have absolutely no problem with you either.
But what's with the rules and why? And clearly you don't seem to be top dog here because you seem to be abiding by some rules defined by someone else, it would seem.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you tell me about the torpid anathema?
Well, unfortunately, I can't tell you anything in regards to that. If I impart any information that you wouldn't otherwise acquire on your own, that would be providing you assistance, and that would also be extremely unfair.
Okay. Yeah, she already mentioned the fair part, so I kind of assume she's not going to provide anything either way.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a curiosity. I know that is more a direct question to you that only you can answer.
Well, see, I cannot promise an answer, but ask your question, she says with a sparkle in her eye.
I'm assuming you saying that they've told you what they're doing here, that they're here to assist us, specifically in acquiring an item. Assuming that you're not upset about this, that this isn't entirely a problem, but is it something that you would want out?
No, she says. It is not something that I really desire either way. When they spoke of your objective, I admit I was a little trepidatious, but decided that the path of least resistance is the better. If this item were to leave our home, it wouldn't be a boon to us, but it also wouldn't be a great handicap. Therefore, we've allowed it, if provided that you are successful.
Well, right. Yeah.
Are we talking about the golden rabbit?
Yes, we're talking about the golden rabbit.
Mr. Planter, we're talking about the golden rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. You've had a very trying evening, I imagine.
He might be still a little drugged.
W- I have another question.
Once again,
So-
I cannot promise an answer, but go ahead and ask.
No,
She
that's
says
fine.
as half of her cigarette burns to an end as she taps the ashes onto the ashtray next to the door.
So, the other day in broad daylight, there was a bunch of monsters that came and tried to spirit away a friend of ours, Frank. Wasn't that a breakage of rules?
She says, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Did you not read the papers? Mr. Patterson's home was the victim of a horrible gas leak. People saw all sorts of horrible things, but it was just hallucinations from the natural gas. It also explains the explosions and burn marks in the area as well.
Ah,
She gives another twinkle in her eye.
So we can break all the rules we want as long as nobody knows about it.
That
She gives a
is-
small, knowing smile.
something to that.
Yes. If
Sorry,
I
go ahead.
can understand this correctly, the general rule is keep the peace and keep the... He pauses for a long moment. Keep everyone as they are.
An interesting interpretation, but I can say that if you follow along those lines, we won't have any problems.
I gotta ask something out of character because I forget. I'm
Sure.
sorry.
Yeah,
Mhm.
ask out a character all you like, my friend.
What's the name of the actual the
Dimension?
the super bad guys that were actually trying to find information about the
The
swarms?
Order of the Lapine?
No, the
no,
swarm.
no,
Back home.
bigger than them. What are we
Oh,
here
the
for?
swarm.
The Travelers.
Yeah,
The
the
Travelers.
swarm. Yes,
Is
yes,
it the swarm? Is that what they're called?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what people have started to call them. Yeah.
I was actually
Okay.
going to ask out of character if it's cool if we talked about that with her. If it's cool with you two.
I'm okay with that completely.
Okay,
Definitely.
then do you want me to talk about it?
She seems super disinterested, so go ahead.
Okay.
It's all you.
So, Miss, we are here to try and find the golden rabbit to appease a friend of ours and perhaps get a little bit of information. But that is one of the routes that we're taking to essentially try and find information about a problem back home. Back home, in our dimension, a swarm has come about, and supposedly there are what are called travelers that hop to different places, and we're trying to figure out some information about them.
I see. I wish you the best of luck.
Cool. Out of character, she
Well-
ain't telling us shit.
Well, you haven't really
Well,
asked
yeah.
anything. You just said what you were there for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
More than
That's
just telling
neat.
you of her plight, have you heard of this? Well, I mean, we're sort of operating under the impression that there's some information in this place, and the sooner we get that information, the sooner we'll stop making your job more interesting.
Oh, she says, I don't actually mind this all that much. Tonight was a little disruptive, but we've managed to smooth things out just fine. Unfortunately, very similar to your current nemesis in the Order of the Lapine, if I provided all new arrivals with privileged information, it would give everyone too much of an advantage, and I would be breaking a promise that I made. What I can tell you is this. There are no real mysteries here in Sable. If you ask, if you investigate, if you are resourceful, everything will be revealed. So, there are no doors that will be permanently locked. You just need to find the proper key. And I will not stand in your way if you happen to find those keys and open up those doors.
So, do either of you have the impression that this person has told us basically nothing?
Yes. Basically,
Just making sure it
follow the
wasn't just me.
rules. Yeah, just follow the rules. Our three new friends need to make sure to stay at the Rhapsody in the shadows, because they look real out of place.
Well, on that note, Miss Johnson,
Yes, Mr. Planter.
how do those guys look any more out of place than, say, Bear?
Well, I don't want to get too much into particulars, but although these smaller gentlemen could blend in just fine, the one made of obsidian is too disruptive for this particular environment to adapt in. In addition, the magical tattoos on the woman are causing unnecessary interference, and if we were to do what we did to yourself or your companion Bear, it would limit and handicap her. She does not wish for this handicap, therefore, she will have to find a much more subtle route while she is here.
Could I be unhandicapped if I be subtle?
You don't have any sort of handicap at all, Mr. Planter. We made sure not to change very much on you. As you can tell, your arm is still there, in addition to what it holds.
Lavin shrugs. Is worth a shot.
Oh man, you could have just not had a robot arm. That's a thing.
I'm looking for MDC weapons, but I'm not going to push my luck.
No, it's fine.
Well, this has been a very good chat, and I'm sorry to hear, Mr. Kinsman, that you are very anxious and concerned. I cannot offer anything but words of encouragement, and I wish you the best while you are here. And with that, she gestures to the door, bidding you to exit.
All right.
And with that, you leave the limousine, and after a moment or two, it's softly and quietly, not quietly, but it drives off through the darkness onto the main road and leaves. At this point, your three new companions, the tattooed woman says, well, apparently you have some sort of establishment that we can stay at. Perhaps we'll go there and make our plans on dealing with these threats that you have and resolve it and get out of here as soon as possible. We'll follow your lead. Do you have transportation?
Yes.
Yeah,
like, out of character, we got like 2 cars.
Two
right?
cars. Yep. You sure do.
And did the NPCs bring their own cars?
No. Well,
Okay.
well, sorry, your backup team of Alicia,
I thought we
Ezex.
came in one
Ezex
car.
have their own
Yeah.
car too.
I thought we
Okay.
came in one car and like Ezex.
They
and them
came
were
in the
other
other.
car.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
so. I thought that was it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
We
have
might
two
not
vehicles.
have enough space.
You have enough
though.
space. It'll be a little
Okay,
tight,
good.
but you have enough space.
We can put the short guy in the trunk.
Nope.
Okay, Is it okay if I narrate you guys back to the Rhapsody?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So as you drive back to the Rhapsody, you learn a little bit more information from your three new companions. Specifically, now that the sudden arrival has taken place and the largest issues have been dealt with, some small introductions have been made. The tattooed woman is named Sienna from Clan Alchion, but Sienna will do just fine. The Obsidian Man doesn't introduce himself, But Tom, when you initially made contact with him and got the general image, I guess you could say visions or impressions of his race and what they do, you also got the impressions of an identifier for him. And the identifier, what he goes by, is Ferius, Ferreus. That is the obsidian entity. In addition, when you connected to him, you're not too sure if that's the name of his entire race, if he's just part of a larger whole called Farius, or if his own individual essence is called Farius. That amount is very, very murky right now. Finally, the small monk-like individual with the large circled paint on his wide egg-like head simply introduces himself as Marshmark. Out of the three, he seems the most perturbed after the meeting with Miss Johnson. And other than a quick and direct introduction, he doesn't really say much. He seems to be musing to himself. In addition, Patrick, while you're in the company of Sienna, Farius, and Marshmark, your small medallion that is set to detect supernatural evil continues to give small vibrations. It did not stop once you left the Mackenzie estate. Arriving at the Rhapsody, you quickly park behind in the parkade and give a brief introduction to your three new companions of the establishment that you have. Going through the back entrance, Basilisk, Ezex, and Alicia soon go throughout the Rhapsody, which is still in full swing. However, they subtly and carefully gather all your other companions, from Jalea and Yasmin to Marla Stotch and August and Lee and Bear, Frank Patterson, Mila, and Al. And soon, you all come together, make introductions of these three new allies sent from Tyrath, and collectively, is it fair to say that this would be an appropriate time to come up with a final plan to deal with these three high members of the Order of the Lapine and the whole Golden Rabbit situation? Is that a fair assumption, or am I railroading you a little too much?
Well, that is, unless I'm completely wrong, I think that's our goal to.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Down.
I just wanted to make sure we were a-okay on that regard.
Unless a player wants to swerve anywhere, that's
no.
Good?
I'm good with
All
that.
right.
I just need two things from you, Inferno.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Okay, I need the name of the radio show host.
Lawrence Carter.
And the mayor's name?
Who you also know is, from speaking with the ghost of Eugene Neal, Dorothy Neal, is in the possession, as far as she knows, of the Fox statue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the mayor's name?
Paul Hill.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, together, as over the next hour or two, during this conversation, introductions, as you let everyone know the information that you gathered in regards to the Mackenzies and everything like that, so everyone's on the same page, a discussion begins to build up as to what to expect. Sienna, the tattooed woman, the tall, striking, athletic tattooed woman, says quite directly, and she suggests a clear, quick assassination of those three individuals who were in charge. She is extremely confident that she is capable of eliminating one of the members simply by herself. She admits that she's had experience taking care of well-protected political targets, and so the mayor is a perfect candidate, Paul Hill, for a good, quick, clean, and simple elimination. She's also relatively certain that her other two new companions, Farius and Marshmark, could neutralize another. When she says this, you see Marshmark scowl and scoff and say that he is just as capable, perhaps even more so than her, of neutralizing a potential threat, especially in this, what he calls, mundane dimension. With that aside, she simply says that leaves the rest of the group, the rest of all of you, to eliminate the final and third target. She trusts that you have the capabilities to handle at least one of these on your own, and if information is limited, they should spend the next 24 hours gathering intel on where these targets rest their heads at night, or at least where they stay. Then, once that information is gathered, all of you strike at once, eliminating all three targets in a single evening. That provides no problems, no backlash, no alerts. Quick, clean, and simple. After suggesting this idea, Blink pipes up that she has a point, but the important thing is that information indeed is limited. And even after 24 hours, Blink says, there's absolutely no indication that we're going to have enough to, as she says, neutralize these targets. The old woman in particular, this Ira Thompson, also known as Verosamoth, is extremely elusive, and even the Mackenzies themselves don't know much about her. Blink says she is sick and tired of having her friends and loved ones, as she looks over towards Tom, walking into traps, and she says it is high time we set a trap of their own. That we should leak information that we are actually involved in finding the statues, and we turn the Rhapsody and the area into a deadly trap for any invader. If this does not severely cripple the Order of the Lapine, she says it will provide individuals to capture and interrogate, and then reliable information can be extracted. And this might actually, depending on who they capture and interrogate, this might able to circumvent the statues and lead us directly to the Golden Rabbit. Frank Patterson, totes and buffles, and he admires Blink's ingenuity. And he says if he had her along with his escapades in Africa, he would be extremely happy. However, he rambles on. She is missing out a very important factor. These individuals of the Order of the Lapine have great power, not just physical and not just mystical, but political as well. And this trap of hers might not work if they use legal or political means to go after us. Rhapsody as a trap, after all, he says, wouldn't work if the police came calling in to arrest us. Instead, he suggests, much like his escapades back in the Sahara, he should treat these opponents, these cunning members of the Order of the Lapine, like an apex predator in the wild, like a lion or a hyena. If we goad one out of its lair and wound it, the rest will come running to protect it, and then they can all be swept up in one single grand hunt. Lee pipes up, scratching his 5 o'clock shadow, that goading the Order of Lapine is not a horrible idea, but perhaps physically it's not necessary. They spoke of consecrated ground, where this ritual to wake this torpid anathema itself might act as a better form of bait. Lee admits it's hard to say without actually visiting the area, but something might be able to be done to at least interfere with this ritual. He is quite confident in his own mystical powers, and once again Marshmark begins to boast of his own capabilities, in which Lee looks at Marshmark warily but doesn't interrupt him. And then he continues. Plus, by the sounds of it, this Order of the Lapine has some sort of magical, intelligence. They know how to use magic, which means that the ritual ground itself is probably protected, warded, and alarmed. If it's alarmed, then it will easily be able to get the big players' attention, and they'll all come in at a rush. The only thing to be wary about is that it could quickly turn this into a large battle royale. It's reasonable to assume that they'll all come running at once and protect it to the death. However, this is a great way to get rid of them, although it is definitely violent and slightly risky. But the good news, Lee says, is that it'll be apparently this place is far out into the boonies, so no one will know, no one will be disruptive, and we can unleash our full power against these creatures.
Lee,
Mm-hmm.
you had me at violent and slightly risky.
Lee gives a bit of a chuckle. He says, it's not typically the way I go, but if we want to goad them out and make sure they're gone, if there's a battleground, that would be it.
Yeah, that would be it.
And finally, the last NPC to bring up a suggestion is Jalea. Jalea, with her hand on her robot companion and assistant Mim, shakes her head, and she says, violence and elimination. That's all you are talking about. You are forgetting something extremely important, something that you've worked towards all this time. We still have secrecy on our side. That Mackenzie couple aren't going to say anything, not only because they're aligned to us, but now they're afraid of disrupting the Order of Lapine. And you hired that detective, Mr. Delaney, to create a false lead, pointing things to that Lawrence Carter radio star. So, instead of all this, I think we should still try to secure the Golden Rabbit without having to confront or kill anybody. Yes, we'll have to use stealth. Yes, we'll have to use misdirection to get the rest of the statues. But if we manage to do that, we can find the Golden Rabbit, resolve our problem, and not have to go against anybody. So, with that, the NPCs have all put towards their suggested tactics into dealing this. However, since many of them are divided on the proper tactic, the end decision is up to you, my fine players, on exactly what you want to do, what approach you want to take. Sorry, that was a little long-winded, but I wanted to give you kind of like 5 clear options, and obviously if you want to modify this, go ahead, but I wanted to give you a good foundation in which to build on.
That's cool. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I have daughter aggro. She just came home and she's
Uh-huh.
gonna go to bed. I gotta say goodnight. But
Okay.
my plan would be on Lee. I'll just be 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay.
So Lavin's voting for Lee, a battle royale out in the boonies. How about the other two? If you have any questions, go ahead and ask.
I was gonna say a thing to like everybody, but
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
for it.
Say
Yeah.
anything to everybody. Yeah, go nuts.
all of you have a strong point and very good information on all of this. I have to admit, I did forget about our base goal, and that we do have a method of not confronting anybody and leaving their lives in general peace by stealthing and relying on the shadows and information from there. But I'm unsure if this option is really that available. We've already marked down how much that we want to obtain these particular statues. They've only been increasing their particular defenses in louder, more bombastic ways. If we even take one, it would probably stir something we've been trying to avoid. All of this is what we're trying to avoid, a large summoning of something we don't even know what it would be.
Julia says, what if we were to take all 3 remaining statues in the same night? Then it would be over, right?
Well, then we'll have all the puzzle pieces to a map. At that point, we have no timeline.
I see.
We do have 3 people that are on top that do have this particular power to summon this, which is our largest problem, And if we take any more steps forward, that is what we're concerned about. I would love, more than anything else, to be able to subvert all of this. Now I have two options. We already have enough pieces of these statues that we might be able to piece together the phantom lines or whatever this particular puzzle might give, and try to put our efforts in what information we have at the moment. And we do have quite a bit. Or I suggest that we take off the head, as Al loves to say, and give the information that something is going down, that another statue is about to be taken, and wait for the three to try to do their summoning. From what I can understand, they probably want to have this done as effectively and quickly once they have the red light, aka anything that jeopardizes their golden rabbit. At that point, they'll all go to one place and to try to summon this on this hollow ground.
Yasmin interjects and she says, "You're assuming the second they lose another statue, they're going to try to summon this torpid anathema. But from our eavesdropping of them, it was very clear that they were very nervous of it, and they wanted to summon it right away, but cooler heads prevailed, and they said they should do that as the last resort. How do we know taking one statue is the last resort? We don't know their threshold for desperation, do we?"
I'm sorry,
No.
remind me, how many statues are left that they have?
3.
The fox, the sparrow, and the octopus. The fox is with Lawrence Carter, the radio show host. The octopus is with Donna Wright, who is a nurse. The sparrow is with Al Sweet, the necromancer. Or the guy who
Black
practices
magician.
black magic.
Yeah.
That guy.
Black
One of
magician
the big
and industrial man about town.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. Losing one of 3 is not necessarily going to push people to a last resort.
Mm-hmm.
But they
It
were
might if
discussing
they're
it on
skittish.
our... My concern is that they've already discussed it on just taking the bulk of the half. We're
It's
looking
true.
at a tipping point.
Lee says, if you want a tipping point, then I say the ritual ground is the way to go then. Because regardless of whether they think the statues are important or not, if we start screwing with their sacred ritual summoning ground, you better believe they're going to defend that. They can't summon a torpid anathema if we block them.
Yeah.
Well, and
Plus-
that links in with what Blink was saying, in that we are potentially laying the trap. I mean, it depends how things are working out exactly when we get there, but
Yeah,
there's
we
a
could
possibility that we've got the advantage there.
Blink
could bring
nods.
everything.
I would. Sorry, go ahead, Tom.
We could bring everything we have and just set up crazy defenses there.
Blink nods. She said, "I suggested the Rhapsody because we know this area. We have control over this area. We haven't even visited this, ritual ground yet, so it is an unknown factor. But you're right, Tom. We can bring absolutely everything with us. And maybe if we don't trip off any of these mystic alarms that Lee was talking about, we might have even time to prepare."
It's true. Plus, I mean, worst case scenario, Marshmark can... He said earlier that he can mess with the grounds.
"Oh, yes," says Marshmark. "I can do more than just mess with them. I've yet to find any form of magic that I haven't been able to interfere with, at least in some level. I am extremely capable."
Also, if we're having a massive melee inside the Rhapsody, there is certainly potential for civilian casualties, right?
Blink
even on the
gives a
streets.
begrudging nod at that remark. Yes.
Now, as much as I would like to agree with the group, this is the difference between the tipping point I was talking about and what the current plan is. The tipping point will allow them to probably bring a few to protect, and then their task is to summon. They would probably not bring their full forces. This, on the other hand, is a calling card to battle. They will bring everything.
Well, and then back to the whole let's assassinate the three heads. In one sense, we actually want them to bring everything.
Sienna says, but if these indeed are the leaders and the ones who know to do this ritual, who gives a shit? We've eliminated the greater threat. And if the greater threat is defeated, the lesser threats will mean nothing.
Interesting. Do we know that those three are required to do the ritual?
Three make it so that it is quick, expedient, and being able to be summoned without too much difficulty. Any one of them can actually summon it.
Yeah.
It just takes more time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I assume, yes.
So there we are. 3 targets. 3 eliminations. No problems, says Sienna, confidently sitting down.
Well,
Well, what we could do...
here's a thought. Go ahead, Tom.
What we could do is possibly a mishmash of a couple of them. We could probably find out through public record where Paul Hill lives. Same thing with Al Sweet. Their homes. We don't know anything about Ira Thompson or Verasamoth or whoever it is. But if we take both of them out in the same night, she will very likely want to go straight to the stomping ground. And we will have a bit of time, because it will take more time in order to summon the Torpid Anathema, and we will know exactly where she goes. How about that?
That's kind of like what I was about to say. I was about to say, Sienna said she could take out one all by herself, right?
Easily,
Yeah.
she says.
Okay, we lose one, they lose one. They have 3. We have, what, 14 people here, something? I can't count.
Okay, wait, let me count. All right, the
I
3
want to say
newcomers,
18.
the 3 newcomers, and the 5 PCs make 8. Then you have Lee, August, Marlis, Ezex, Basilisk, Alicia, Jalea, Yasmin, Bear. Jesus Christ.
Blink.
That's
Okay,
9. You
so
have 17 people.
In terms of
18,
percentages, if they lose one of 3 and we lose one of 17, we're better off in the big fight, right?
No. Those are the
starts
top
counting
3.
on his fingers and is confused.
Those are the top 3. They have underlings, and their underlings have underlings.
That's true.
Sienna says, if you want to do a hybrid, I can eliminate Paul Hill. I'm sure Marshmark here and Ferris can get rid of this Albert Sweet guy, which just means Verasamoth that would come to the ritual ground. You can lay the trap, and sure, I'm sure she'll have plenty of backup, but it's better for you to face off 1 leader and their minions versus 3 leaders and their minions. Of course,
Also,
the 3 of us will be too busy killing your enemies, but you seem very confident in your abilities. Although not confident not to ask for help, she says with a bit of a smirk.
It's true. I wouldn't still recall that I asked specifically for help for subduing, not murder.
She says, I can do subductions too, and that's what Ferris is about. His old people are about subduing and imprisoning. I can do both, but I prefer a more permanent solution. I don't believe in half measures, she says.
Okay, 2 points. One, I think murder flew the coop after what we saw at the graveyard. If they're willing to condone that stuff, then I really have no sympathy. But more importantly, too, how long do the minions stick around if we do kill the leaders? I mean, what kind of loyalty are we talking about here? I mean, maybe if you're next in line for the throne, so to speak, but if you're just average Joe, do you really care?
Well, the minions, from what I can tell, seem to be gathering power in one way or another, but most of them are kept in check through fear. Moving that might just keep their winnings from this particular alliance and then be on with their life, content with not having a large business over their heads. Trust me, you don't want that. Patrick remembers back
To what? The
To-
coalition?
to coalition,
The
to
Ishpeming? The black market? Yeah.
Man, we've
The
been
entire
fucked
adventure of the
over
past
so
2
many
years.
times. Jesus.
What can I say?
So now, I'm sorry, out of character. You were talking about 2 assassinations. So Sienna could go take one, and did you say Marshmark would be going on one?
Marshmark and Ferris would be taking care of the other one.
Don't we need Marshmark at the unholy ground or whatever to deal with?
Well, yeah, you could use him. You could just have Ferris go after the other fellow. He apparently is extremely capable as well, although he doesn't talk for himself. But the very fact that his people can imprison people very easily with little resistance makes it implies that he can probably do well on himself.
Well,
if you would go out without Marshmark, you still have someone who knows quite a bit about magic rituals, which is Lee.
That's true.
It just might be stronger disrupting it if you had Lee and Marshmark.
I'd feel a lot better with Marshmark since he was the one who even mentioned going there and disrupting the stuff in the first place.
Okay.
I mean, I know Lee mentioned it now, but if Ferris needs backup, I mean, we have
a bunch of other people
around the room.
Yeah.
We could send Al and
Mila, Ellie.
Ellie.
True.
Whatever.
We can send those NPCs to back up.
Yeah, dude. They're not here.
Good. No, that would make my life a lot easier.
Yeah, sure. That seems good. I have a question for Lee.
Sure. What's up?
So, what's the biggest thing you can summon? Biggest, baddest thing that now hear me out. Remember that battle with Nathan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you were trying to summon
I
something.
tend to recall that. Mm-hmm.
Could you summon that or something bigger?
He says it'll take pretty much all of my mystical energy, and I might need a little bit of support from my pupils. He looks over towards Patrick and Al. But I was planning on summoning, and what I can summon is an earth golem that is approximately 12 feet tall and one really tough nut to crack.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Lavin looks at Lee and says, I like the cut of your jib.
Thanks, mercenary. You're not too bad either. I just wish you stopped being such a bad influence on those two, as he jokes and gestures toward Basilisk and Ezex, in which Ezex proudly says that he is a fine bad influence on himself. Thank you very much.
Yeah, who's influencing who here? Let's not even get into that.
Lee just gives a bit of a smirk.
Now,
Before
before
go ahead.
we
Yeah,
go,
you want to say something before, Piff. What's up?
Before we continue with any more discussion, I'd like to point out one thing that was talked about in our conversation in the limo. Looks like one of the things that are considered to be of bad form here is killing. Now, mind you, it is probably okay to go after individuals, singular people. It looks like any sort of casualties above direct purpose might be looked upon poorly, as well as also what it looks like to the civilians as well. So, if we are to, and looks over to the newest member who joined, eliminate this particular target, we must do so without.
With discretion, asks Sienna, raising an eyebrow.
Without making a scene.
Sienna gives a bit of a grin. Yeah, I can do that, no problem. Ferris and the Obsidian Man nods his head. And Marshmark gives a bit of a shrug and says, I could pull my punches, sure. If it gets us out of here sooner, it's fine by me.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Great! We're gonna have a great time.
So, oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Burr.
Let's make sure to get you some robes or something. And he's gonna point to Ferris.
Robes, he says.
Yeah, 'cause you kind of stand out a bit. Sorry.
I was told you have clothes. I haven't seen anyone else in robes.
Yeah, I was
clothes.
gonna say someone walking around in robes in the whatever year this is.
Fine, we'll find something for you.
Badger says, I've been taking notes. I should be able to find something suitable.
Yes.
So, Sienna asks, when, just to be certain on the plan then, you're giving me the green light to assassinate Paul Hill and Ferris, and perhaps with a little bit of backup from your companions, will neutralize Albert's suite. You will go to this ritual ground and set a trap. Are we on? Oh, do we all understand each other?
Verasamoth is the most baddest name, so I definitely think we want to fight her.
Yeah.
Patrick closes his eyes and, out of character, which one is the one that was the head of the dark magic or whatnot?
Oh, that
Albert's
was sweet.
suite.
Yeah.
And that's the one she's going after?
Nope, that's the
She's
one
going
that
after Hill.
Ferris and perhaps NPC backup is going after.
Okay.
So Sienna says she has experience taking care of political targets, and nothing's more political than a mayor.
Okay.
I got it. I got it. We can contact Dex and send him with Ferris. It's perfect.
Why?
I don't know.
Just to give the guy something to do.
Yeah, I mean,
it seemed awesome to me. Fine, it's not awesome, you jerks.
Look, okay, I will only allow this if Al and Mila goes too.
Well, Al might be back next session, but Mila maybe.
Mila might be back too. Her school's wrapping up here real soon.
Yeah.
See, that's risky sending them off. I don't know.
Oh,
No, I
I could
mentioned it
deal with
first.
it. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Heck, you guys might get this resolved tonight, honestly. I have no intention of belaboring this.
Okay. Let's send Al, Mila, and Dex with Ferris.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, great. So that's the plan. Excellent.
Yes.
So they will need, so Sienna will need about 24 hours or so. And I'm assuming Dex, you have to contact Dex. And of course, Al, Ellie, and the mute Ferris are also going to need some information on where to find Sweet and when to strike, right? But Sienna definitely says by tomorrow evening, she says 10 o'clock or 11, between 10 o'clock and midnight would be a fine window in which to eliminate these folks. So
Sounds
if you
great.
want to get ready for the ritual ground, prepare around that evening. Will that work for you guys?
Absolutely.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so this is what I want to do. Because I want to give you guys a little bit of locus of control in preparing these next 24 hours. But like I said, I don't want to belabor this. So, all the NPCs are going to do what they need to do properly, right? So, some of them will spend the next 24 hours before they go to the ritual ground to help gather information about Paul Hill and Albert Sweet. Where do they live? What are their schedules like? What information they might need, so they can help these NPCs neutralize them, right? The NPCs are off doing their own thing. Are there any skills that you guys want to do to assist in setting up the plan? Besides the ritual ground, which will be a completely different thing, which you all will go to together, right? Is there any skills you want to do as a kind of like a fun little skill check challenge to assist in this setup? Or do you guys just want to pass and just chug along?
I'm looking at my skills right now.
Sure.
Let's see.
Patrick, you've been working with that radio, right?
Yes.
Have you caught any cross chatter or anything on that? Any kind of communications? Any sort?
Well, he can spend some time in the next 24 hours or so to check it out. Because right now he's really just been checking it out, familiarizing himself with it. I don't think he's been actively using it just yet. Right?
That's correct. He's basically just been looking at the components and how they worked with each other.
Mm-hmm. But he could now. That could be very handy.
Okay. The only other thing I can think of is a combination of wilderness survival and detect concealment, which may allow me to skirt around the assault area without actually disturbing anything, just to sort of get a visual on what we're dealing with.
Sure. We'll utilize those skills when I move you guys towards the ritual ground, hours before the ambush. That'll be perfect. I'm talking more about information gathering within Valdez City itself, specifically to deal with the targets of Paul Hill and Albert Sweet.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay.
Good luck, guys.
Like I said, you don't have to do anything. I just want to give you guys options.
The only thing I could do is maybe tailing somebody and using my track animal skill for humans with a minus 20%.
It'll probably be a bigger penalty because this is an urban environment, not a wilderness environment.
Mm-hmm.
But the skill would still transpose a little bit.
Yeah.
But heads up, if you get a big failure, especially if you're dealing with Paul Hill and Albert Sweet, you might get spotted.
Yeah, that's true.
Understand the consequences of failure.
It's either that or prowl, which my prowl is amazing. But other than that, I can't think of anything unless I can art my way through this.
No.
Yeah, no. I figured not. I think Tom would want to just look through our inventory and see what we have and try and pick out the most effective things that we need.
Okay.
To set up.
If you want to spend some time doing that, that's handy.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lavin's gonna pass on any skill check. Burn, it sounds like you're more comfortable going through your inventory to make sure you come to this ritual ambush very well prepared, right?
Yes.
So Patrick, anything you would like to do?
Yeah, I assume that he's really good at a lot of generalized research. He's familiarized himself with enough things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Enough to muddle through it for sure, yeah.
So he can help a lot with that, as well as probably give a few tips about how they use their particular dark magic thing from...
Okay. So, what I'm hearing you is an anthropology skill check to help in dealing with Paul Hill, to advise to help against dealing with Paul Hill, and magic, lore magic, to help dealing with Albert Sweet. Does that sound about right to you?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't you, for the anthropology skill to help against Paul Hill, you are pretty familiar with this area, although some of this information is rather specific. So I'd like you to roll your check, make it harder by 15, and tell me how much you succeed or fail by.
Okay. I succeed by 41.
Oh, excellent. I'm going to kind of give you some broad strokes here, if that's okay.
Yep.
All right, so digging into a bit of research, you head back to the library, we'll say, and dig through newspaper articles and other correspondence over the past 10 years in which Paul Hill has been mayor of Velda City. And although you can't find a specific schedule or anything like that, you're able to advise Sienna and others preparing for a strike against Paul Hill about some of his rumored indiscretions. Apparently, the gentleman isn't swayed by drink or by women, but apparently, for the longest time, very secretive, he's been battling with an opioid addiction. And although he has made great declarations about kicking the habit and these great donations to addiction centers and hospitals all over the world, all over the country, there's still a lot of rumors in regards to that. And he isn't in the public eye all the time, after all. So, actually, do me a favor and also roll a streetwise for me.
Okay.
No penalties.
Double check if that's my streetwise. Yep. Succeed by 51.
Okay. You are able to detail 5 particular areas in which, thanks to your research, has at least the swirl of rumors of opioid addiction. In particular, one known to be extremely discreet and to deal with high-class customers, which might be the adequate hint that Sienna and group might need in order to track or narrow down their focus. Excellent work. Now let's deal with Mr. Albert Sweet. I want you to do lore versus magic, and although you're vaguely familiar with black arts, you're not intimately familiar with it. So let's make that harder by also 15, and let me know how much you succeed or fail by.
Okay. I fail by 15.
Fail by 15. Okay. All you can advise to Ferris, Dex, Mila, and Al is that the assumption that if he taught that necromancer in the graveyard how to raise the dead, he might be familiar or at home in other areas. Oh, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Oh, no.
Nope.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Oh, no.
Oh no.
We can hear...
Inverted lag.
There we
Not
go.
anymore.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Okay, what
We
did you hear last from me?
We heard that
We
whole
heard
thing.
all of you.
Oh, you heard all of me? I just couldn't
Yes.
hear you. Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yay, Discord, or whatever is the problem. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. You're saying something?
No.
Oh, okay. So all you can assume is that Albert Sweet, if he wants to use the crux of his black magic, assuming it is entirely necromantic in origin, might retreat or head to a place in which there are cadavers nearby. So perhaps city morgues, perhaps other graveyards, or perhaps soldier memorials or something like that. Unfortunately, you just know too little about Albert Sweet, and his tactics to provide any other great insight. Sound fair?
Yeah. Just a question to GM, because I
Yeah.
wanted to know if Patrick would know this or not.
Okay.
I think during the training there was discussion of this, but I am not entirely positive.
Okay.
Does he know about sacrificial means?
Oh, like if you sacrifice a person, it doubles their PPE?
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows about that. Patrick would know about that, at least the fundamentals of it.
Yeah, he
Lee
would probably
obviously would
also
warn you against it, but he
yeah,
would say
I
don't kill
think
people.
I think he did say that, like when he
Yeah.
was doing the teachings, but
Yeah.
Patrick would probably also this is all information he thinks that will help. As he says, the other men seem to have also killed animals and people to obtain, I'm assuming, to obtain enough magical essence to do his magic. I'm assuming that he might need to do the same.
That's a fair assumption.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So, with that in mind, with anything else, because my next plan is to time skip to the next day, and I think perhaps it's up to you
Oh, shit.
guys. But since, yeah,
I Patrick would just remember that there was the tome. The tome of magic spells, and he said, I haven't had time to research this, but any and all information from here might help. There's a black tome that the
I know what you're talking about. Thinking about how to, because you already rolled the skill check, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be pretty dishonest for me to have you roll another one. Although I have no other way of incorporating this. Give me a moment.
I would probably suggest just an NPC roll to investigate the book to see how much they glean from it.
Yeah, I'll have Lee do it.
Yeah.
Okay, wrong chat window. All right, Lee will examine the tome, and he'll say he'll pass on the information. Well, Ferris isn't very communicative, but he'll advise Mila and Al in particular, specifically Al, because he knows magic, of some things to watch out for, possible spells that might be cast, and ways of trying to avoid it. Although Lee does say if this guy was just a student, there's no guarantee that the master knows the same spells or anything like that, but at least it gives the idea of the flavor of magic that you're dealing with. Now, is it fair to say, since you're going to have all your allies be in this showdown over in the ritual, that perhaps on this Thursday night coming up that you close the Rhapsody?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. So the Rhapsody will be closed. Do you want to just say for construction or some other, BS reason?
Yeah. Let's say our stove is broken, or something like that. Our
Sure,
taps are
problems
broken.
in the kitchen.
Yeah, problems in the kitchen.
All right. Okay. But it'll just be closed for one night, and you're expected to be opening rip-roaring on Friday evening. Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So arrangements have been made. Alicia and Yasmin have contacted the staff, let them know not to come on in, nothing to be concerned about, just to take a paid day off. So the Rhapsody will be shut down. with that, the three teams, for lack of a better word, will begin to leave and be dispersed. Sienna on her own to deal with Paul Hill. She would leave around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. She wants to follow up on a few leads, but she is confident that she'll be able to track and eliminate Paul Hill, as she said, anytime between 10 o'clock and midnight that night. Al, Ellie, Dex Delaney, and Ferris depart soon after, and they said that they'll be within radio communication if they come up across any sort of hiccups or problems. But they will also, wait, let me finish. They will also aim for between 10 o'clock and midnight to deal with the whole Albert Suite thing. Yes, Patrick?
Oh, I was going to probably say, should probably
I
tell
can
them.
retroactive anything.
No. We should probably, during this time, go get the werewolf lady and
The Mackenzies,
the
Angus.
Mackenzies, because most likely and not, they're probably going to not be in the safest spot during this time.
Okay, all right. Do you want the Mackenzies to come with you to the ritual ground, or do you want them to hang tight in the Rhapsody?
I don't mind the ritual ground. How about you two?
I don't mind either way.
Sure.
Rhapsody's probably the safer of the two, and they would be in luxury because the place would be empty.
But you don't really know them entirely all that well.
That's true.
So it might be a shorter leash to keep them with you. Oddly enough, Frank Patterson, who seems to be the physically weakest in all this, is almost insistent to come to the ritual ground because he says it's the culmination of everything he's been working on for the past several years.
All right.
Lavin says, well, every good fight needs fodder, and slaps Frank on the back.
Ha! Says Frank. I hope you're referring to yourself, young man. I know I might not seem that way, but I'm still a pretty good crack shot with my elephant gun.
Well, if you see any elephants at the fight, you let me know.
Okay. says Frank as he puts on a uncharacteristically stern, serious look. Well, not uncharacteristic, a sudden one. So Mackenzie's, I mean, you can keep them at the Rhapsody. If you want a babysitter, you could always have August stay behind or another NPC, or you can insist that they come along with you to the ritual ground.
What is their feeling in all of this?
The Mackenzies being contacted by you, Angus being the main mouthpiece, would say that it is a bold and dangerous idea that you're doing. And if it were up to him, he'd like to just stay at home and be nice and quiet and hope everything would blow over. But if you insist that they come to the ritual ground, I don't think they really have any place in which to refuse.
Patrick would probably double down on being genuinely worried about their safety, and says whatever you feel is best.
I find this quite surprising, says Angus, considering just last night or 2 nights ago I was attempting to drug and interrogate you. But I'm glad to see that you're worried about us now. If it would make you feel any better, and assuming we're not walking into a little devious trap of your own, your little nightclub would suffice. I'm assuming we would get some way in which to contact you to know to run in case you all die or about to. Angus crosses his legs and he says, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if you're going to succeed. And if I'm here at home with Rosie and you all end up dead, I have what we would call plausible deniability. If, however, you were to fail and my old leaders at the Order of the Lapine would find me in your establishment, that would not look very good for Rose and I.
True. I'm more
But if I were
concerned
to come
about.
along with you to the ritual ground, well, then all bets are off, and Rosie can fight quite well.
Well, the scenario that I'm concerned is this. Leaders stop dropping, and the last people that actually knew of the direct leaders are you. They might turn quickly.
Who, the rest of the Order?
They might take out aggressions, is my concern.
Who would take out aggressions?
Whoever is left to be upset, I suppose.
Oh, I see. A quick struggle for the power vacuum.
Well as a quick to point fingers, whoever may have tipped them off, that it might be pointed in your direction since we were the last ones to talk to you.
Well, says Angus, the only ones who know I invited you for dinner was Mr. Paul Hill. He came on by a few hours before you arrived and asked what our plan was. If there were other members of the Order of the Lapine, I certainly didn't inform them. So, assuming Mr. Hill didn't tell any of his other underlings, I'd assume the secret would die with him. And if there is a power vacuum, maybe it'd be useful to have someone that you've grown to trust and our allies to fill that void. Like me and Rosie. I have the smarts, she has the muscle. If there are any fragments of the Order of the Lapine left, we can scoop them up and either disband them or turn them into something else.
Well, we have our own duties, and I'm unsure if we can entirely help with getting you to the top of this.
Oh,
But
no. I imagine if you wanted to know my opinion of it, I'm quite certain, quite confident, that if Sweet Hill and Verosimoth are all destroyed, I don't think there'll be much structure in which for the rest of the Order to build its house on. I think most of it will crumble and fizzle. I think. I don't know. The Order's very compartmentalized. You know, like a pyramid. They're at the top, we're at the bottom. I'm just one of the little blocks. I don't know how many other blocks there are out there.
well, if you're confident, I'll leave you to your day.
Excellent. With all due respect, I have assisted you as best I can against my own inclination, but I think plausible deniability is definitely the way to go. I'll be rooting for you, of course, because if you fail, there is still a good chance that Rosie and I might die, but if I can keep a slight chance of my survival in your failure, I think I'll take it. Thank you for your concern, though. It's very unexpected.
Patrick gave a probably stout nod and take his leave.
Okay. All right, so the Mackenzies are going to decide that discretion is a very part of valor and duck their heads inside their own manor, saying that they don't know anything if anyone asks any questions. With that in mind, the other two teams have left in the late afternoon to accomplish their goals. Bullied by, incentivized, not incentivized, bolstered, there we go, bolstered by the information and intel that were gathered, obviously later on in the evening, either before, during, or after the big ritual showdown. I'll let you know how that goes. But let's talk about the main event. Let's talk about what you guys want to do. So, first question. how many hours before 10 o'clock p.m., when the ball's going to start to roll, do you guys want to head to the ritual ground? Do you want to be there? How many hours in advance do you want to go in order to prep for stuff? And although I'm not going to be extremely stringent on time, if you want to do a huge amount of preparation, I'm not going to let you do that in just 1 hour, right? So think carefully as to what you want to do.
Lavin would want to go at least an hour early to surveil the area.
Okay.
And see what kind of terrain we're dealing with and
All right.
positions for ambush and whatnot.
I'm of a mind of saying 2 hours early and try and use. I'm pretty sure Patrick has some kind of detect magic or sense magic. I don't know if Lee does too or whatnot. If that would help in trying to figure out if there's any kind of alarms or anything like that, that could be useful. Yeah, just a couple of hours ahead, bring everything we can, and get ready for a big fight, I think.
Yes, Patrick does have that.
So are we agreed on 2 hours then?
Sure. Sounds good.
Excellent. Give me just a quick moment. Just quickly trying to look up something real quick. Yeah, perfect. All right. All right. Alrighty. Let me just create a new page. Actually, no, I'm going to put this on the whiteboard. All right. Once I delete this page, come on. Why delete? Oh, there it is. Okay. Enough of my yakking. Let me start painting a picture. So, you and all your NPC companions, with the exception of Ferris, Sienna, Al, Ellie, and Dex, head towards the general coordinates of that the Mackenzies told you where this ritual would be, which is approximately 2 miles to the southeast of the Grand Quarry Mine, which is south of Velda City. Now, who of you has land navigation?
Patrick does.
Okay. Because you're not given specific... Okay, great. So hold up a second before you start rolling the dice. Because you weren't giving specific directions, but just kind of a general idea, 2 hours is what you want to get there ahead of time. Now, depending on how much you succeed or fail by, you might get there a little bit earlier, or you might get there a little bit later. Depends on how lost you get into the boonies of the Velda City region. So, I would like you to make your checks harder by, we're going to say 10% because of the vagueness of the instructions. And I would like both of you to Lavin and Patrick roll. Let me know how much you succeed or fail by, and I'm going to add up those successes or failures to a final roll. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go nuts, my friends. Make it harder by 10. Okay, so that is the equivalent of a success by 54. Groovy. That's quite good. You leave a few hours, well, at least an hour or so early, because although the drive just a couple miles down south is not going to be difficult, you have quite a bit of a convoy going on now. In addition, you don't know exactly where you need to go. But thanks to Lavin and Patrick, you're able to determine that obviously this will need to be accessed to some point via vehicle, although it's probably not going to be obvious. So you start looking at maps in the general landscape as you drive along for side dirt paths. Lavin, thanks to your experience tracking down monsters and criminals, being a general bounty hunter and headhunter, an adventurer, you're also able to determine even more so. It's probably not going to, this ritual ground is probably not going to be right beside one of these dirt paths. It'd be more likely that they would disembark and head on foot for quite a few yards before reaching this ritual ground, because although itself would be, by the description, twisted landscape, it would still need to be relatively inconspicuous. Thankfully, to the insight of both your characters, you're able to arrive at the ritual ground 2.5 hours early, finding the ritual ground much faster than anticipated. At first, the first indication that you've become closer is Patrick, although still in the company of the NPCs. Well, not all of them, but the newest one being Marshmark. Your Creat, Ed, still continues to vibrate throughout the journey down there. However, it's when you begin to disembark and Lavin leads down to a forested path that seems to have shown some sort of wear, that it begins to vibrate larger and longer and more frequently. It is then that your magic spell, Detect Magic, begins to fire off. And after that, you're able to lead them directly to the ritual ground, much like a bloodhound leads a tracker. Once you reach a... Oh, wait a second. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to just quickly slide on over the map here. I forgot to upload it ahead of time. Bad Inferno. Where is it? There it is. So it is... Oh, come on. Upload faster. There we go. Let me make it a little bit bigger.
Are we supposed to be seeing something right now?
Yeah. Are you... Oh, never mind. I didn't put you over to the whiteboard. Now you can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it is 7:30 in the evening, and the sun behind some overcast clouds slowly begins to set. And as you push yourself through the trees and the bushes in this wilderness area to the south of Velda City, the first indication that you've come close on the ground beyond Patrick's own senses is everything is eerily quiet. At this time, as dusk begins to go, typically birds would be active, crickets would start up, cicadas and other such wildlife. That has left you, however, hundreds of feet behind you. It is then Tom, Lavin, Patrick. You notice that the trees themselves begin to have less leaves on them. Eventually, all of them seem to be bare. As you get closer and closer towards where Patrick is leading you, you can see that the trees not only are lifeless, but become twisted. Then you can see, instead of the light grays, assuming it's some sort of brown color in the real world, begin to turn into a twisted black. It is then through this twisted, gnarled teeth of these blackened stumps, you can see quite clearly the ground that must be where this ritual is taken. this ritual takes place. The grass, much like the foliage in the trees, has subsided, and for the next few dozen feet of progress, it is just simply bare earth. But even then, the bare dirt begins to blacken and crack. And we're going to just say, for the sake of simplicity, you are not actually on this map just yet. You are wise enough, Patrick is wise enough in his knowledge of magic, and Lee and Marshmark also warn that getting too close to this ritual area might signal off a ward or an alarm. So, from the perimeter, you can see that the land itself begins to show some deep, dark fissures. Nothing canyon-like, but unnatural cracks in the earth. In addition, you can see the land begin to billow up very, very slightly. Not large enough for there to be a mound in the center, but it's really clear that it's almost like something great from underneath the earth is slightly pushing up against the crust of the ground, almost like it's pushing up wanting to be released. In addition, in the center of this black, craggy, cursed land, there appears to be the crumbling remnants of a stone circle. It's unsure of whether this used to be a stronger building here that's fallen to ruin, or perhaps the jagged stones themselves are a part of the ritual, but from your casual observation, it doesn't seem like it has any sort of rhyme or reason to it just yet. But for the next few hundred feet, towards the center stonework, it's very clear that there is no growth and that this is clear, open land. There is, with the exception of the stones in the center of this ritual circle, there is no other cover. And even then, the trees that are around here are just blackened stumps. With that in mind, you are now at the ritual ground, and you have 2.5 hours to prepare. Now, I'm assuming you would like Lee and Marshmark, and those of you who have magical aptitude, to first do a magical recon of the area, and then put in suggestions on what to do next. By the sounds of what you were saying before, Lavin, when we were preparing, you want to also do a physical recon of the area itself and see if you can come up with some sort of insight. Is that correct?
Yeah, or to see if there's some sort of terrain advantage, also to see if there's anything concealed in the area, perhaps some, just regular guard posting or something like that.
Okay. All right, great. I'm going to get to that in a moment. Patrick and Tom, I'm not going to speed the next 2.5 hours directly, you know what I mean? But it's going to take about half an hour for Lavin to do his recon and for Lee and Marshmark to at least kind of survey and test out the magical defenses of this area. Is there anything in this first half hour that you guys want to do as far as spells or skills or anything in general you want to do?
I definitely want to sense magic.
Okay.
You
you already used sense magic to get to this place. Right. It is clear that this area is extremely magical.
I just know that sense magic is now you can know where what active spells are and so on and so forth.
Let me look that up again. I don't think sense magic lets you know what spells are active, because that magic is in the area.
Yes. I think that is correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, you can sense without a doubt there is deep magic within this area.
Let's see. Surprisingly enough, I don't have anything else that directly allows me to do anything else other than do that. I guess the only thing that I can do is just general magical lore. Maybe just keep next to Lee and kind of just understand what he's doing. Maybe just to expand my knowledge base of what the heck is going on.
Okay. Tom?
Now, this might sound weird, but I would like to do a little recon of my own, but I am interested to know. I would like to track animals to see if animals are actively avoiding this place.
Okay. I'll have you do that.
Okay.
I'm going to have you guys roll some skill checks. I'm going to roll some skill checks for the NPCs and let you know in the next half hour what the deal is with this area. However, once I'm done with that, I want you guys to clearly explain what items from the Rhapsody and the Behemoth and all that stuff that you took to this area, right? Because I don't want it to show up out of nowhere minutes before, the battle starts. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to do some rolls and take the next 5 minutes or so just to, get my mind in gear so I can clearly communicate to you guys. And in that time, I'd like you guys to confer and decide, what you're going to take. Not only personal arms and armor, but other magical items and other such things. Groovy?
Groovy.
Okay. So go ahead and talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to actually take off my headphones just so, I can not be distracted and come up with everything. And I'll be back in about 5 minutes or so. Groovy?
Okay.
All right.
I'd like to start by saying I'm going to go to the washroom.
Okay.
All right, fantastic. So,
That's the plan.
it's just
All
you
right.
and me, Piff. Let's do this. So what I'm thinking for my character specifically is to bring the blacklight blade along with my the witchfire that we got from Ver. Some armor. I'm gonna ask what our power armors turned into, or if we still have those, because that would be interesting. Apart from that, I'm thinking of bringing a gun, but I'm not entirely sure about that.
Well, I definitely am bringing my gun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's see. What kind of magical items do we want to bring? We have the lyre. We don't need the lyre. Do you want the bracers of the moon and stars?
That was given to me last time. I do not mind using them again.
Okay. I don't think we need the alien toolbox.
I think that's just to store things. I think it has a few neat tools in there, but I don't think there's any
Phase
use
built
for that unless it freaking drives a spaceship into the ground in front of us.
No. Hairpin. The obsidian slab we shouldn't need. The PP batteries. Do you want to bring those?
Yeah. Okay. Though I don't really know, and Al's been using them a ton. I have no idea. I think he's been replenishing them, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Definitely magic ring. Definitely all of my ammo for this. Multiple people. What would I want to bring for multiple people? Because I damn well think that is going to be more than one. Or two, or three, or four, or five, or six. do have some interesting grenades.
Yeah, we do. We do have some interesting grenades. You know what I think we should have?
No.
I think you should bring the three-eyed goggles.
Yes.
Yes. Because then you'd be able to detect invisible, which might be a key thing. Let's see. We have tear gas. Surprise, it's tear gas.
Don't you have those pens?
Yeah, I have 2 of those. I also have 10 smoke grenades and 5 plasma grenades, but they could be changed to something else, probably fragmentation or something. And with that, I'm going to use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm going to suggest that tear gas and probably smoke, though not necessarily, will be useless in this kind of a situation.
Now, I remember you have a sweet sniper rifle.
That's pretty much the only thing that I see of any value worth taking, is my sniper rifle and the grenades I have.
Grenades are
have any.
probably going to be pretty useful. I was discussing earlier that I don't think it's just going to be a few people. I think it's going to be a group. And I think we're going to need as much multi-targeted pieces as we can, unless we can think of something clever.
Yep. AoE and grenades. The only other thing I'm bringing is the knife I stole from that necro in the graveyard. I don't know why, but I just feel like I should bring it.
Sure.
And armor.
Yes, of course, armor.
But I don't have nearly the options of gear that you guys have.
Let's see. We got concealment.
Do you want to bring the vacuum?
I still have no idea what that does, but
I
you
feel
know
like
what?
vacuuming an outdoor area is sort of a waste of time, but this is my opinion. I mean, what do I know about vacuums, right?
God,
It's a
that'd be
magical
funny.
vacuum.
That'd be the
Oh,
funniest thing if we just like pointed the vacuum at the top of the mound, hit suck, and it just
It's like justification for anything. It's a magical vacuum. Oh, well. Well then, never mind.
it does something about like removing something. It's either like poison or like a thing that like haunts people. Unsure.
I have, like, where did you guys even get a magical vacuum from? I don't recall this. Must have been before I got here.
Zoot, new Zoot.
Oh yes, one of his weird ass random items.
Yeah.
Hello?
I'll tell you,
Hello.
that's a lot of weight. Vacuums ain't. Well, I don't know. It depends.
I think
'Cause,
it's
like,
a
if we're
handheld.
talking- Yeah, I mean, it really depends. I mean, I'm thinking like
I don't think
when I
it's
was
a stand
5 years old.
We're talking about
my
the
parents
vacuum.
Had a vacuum. That thing was like 50 pounds, but nowadays a vacuum's like 20 pounds. So then a handheld's like, 3 pounds.
Are you talking
Yeah, I
about the
don't
new
know.
Zoot vacuum?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be like a really old school, like 40-pound with a bunch of tubes
Yeah.
and everything all over the place. Yeah, it's big.
A frickin'
Okay.
monster, brutal vacuum. It's like heavy to carry. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm familiar with these devices.
Okay, I'm willing to have Tom and Levin start rolling so I can start giving you guys some more information. But do you need a few more minutes to finalize your list of what you're bringing, or are you good now?
I think I'm good. I have a question,
Good.
though.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm here to answer all questions. What's up?
What did the Samson power armor turn into? Blink's set of power armor.
Give me a moment.
Mm-hmm.
No problem.
While that's going on, Burn, I am missing details on this. Do you have the information on the flechette rifle and the details on its ammo?
This is what I got. I can bring up
So,
the PDF in a second. Yes.
okay, I figured it out. What the power armor and what most power armors turn into. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know those old school 1930s and 1940s movies where space invaders come and they're made of like big metal shiny creatures?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like it's right out of a sci-fi movie, an
So
old school sci-fi movie.
instead of hands, you have clamps.
Yes. It still functions the same for the sake of simplicity, but that's what it looks like. It looks like it's right off of a Hollywood movie set.
I got a question. I'm sure you've answered this before. What
I'm
happened to
sure
my
that's
jetpack?
okay. Pardon me?
What happened to my jetpack?
Very similar. I do think I might have mentioned it before.
I
It
think
is
you
still a
did too.
jetpack, but it's like a Buck Rogers, super shiny, silvery metal type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm set to go.
Or think like the Rocketeer. You know, that kind of old school 40s,
That's
50s
what I thought it
type
looked
of
like
thing.
in the first place.
No, that one was a little bit sleeker and more modern. This is kind of
Janky.
clunkier and cornier, I guess you could say.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So it's all out there. So there's no surprises.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you guys are bringing.
Okay, so I'm going to bring my shotgun,
Uh-huh.
standard ammo, as well as magical ammo.
Okay.
There's a small enough amount that I can just say all.
Okay.
And a flechette rifle, as well as all the ammo for that. Also small enough to just say all.
Okay.
I am definitely bringing. I think I actually have the magical armor gauntlet, so I'm not going to bring armor this time either.
Okay. You
Those
mean
are
the bracers?
yeah, the bracer that
When you
I
say
can
gauntlets,
activate
you
for.
meant the bracers with the moon and stars on them. Okay.
Yep. As well as the ring. And I think those are my weaponries
Okay.
and armor. Now, what I'm going to do as side, I'm still generally deciding on, but I think for some reason, because it's just so goddamn useful in almost every single case, I'm going to almost insist upon getting the voice changer.
Okay. I know
Um,
who you're insisting against. I guess the other players, because I don't care. You go
insist-
nuts.
The fuck you can't bring that voice changer thing. I'm tired of this voice changer. What are we even talking about?
Yeah, C11 doesn't even know what you're talking about. It's all good.
It's a
right.
silver stick that makes you sound different.
Yep.
I think that's gonna
It's like
screw everything up, dude. It's a terrible idea.
It's a magic voice modulator, and who cares? You don't get to have it. Only Patrick wants it. Patrick takes it. Okay. Anything else? Any other tools? For you, Patrick. I'm going to go to Tom and then Lavin.
I think standard like miscellaneous things. Like I'm quite sure he'd get his distance finder.
As long as it's minor, non-combat, non-magic items like mirrors and calculators and shit like that, that's fine, right? I'm talking about powerful magic items or weapons that I don't want you pulling your ass out in the middle of a battle.
I think I'll leave in the car my super camera.
Okay.
As well as I'm going to probably bring Inviso goggles.
Okay. See, that's important. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah. No, so forget about mundane stuff. Mundane is fine, but you have to declare stuff like that. So that's perfect. Great. Wonderful. Okay. Tom.
I'm typing
You're
everything
muted.
down.
Oh, there you are. Oh, you're typing everything down? Okay, I'm going to go to Lavin then.
Lavin is taking robot medical kit and
Sweet.
IRMSS.
Yes, the internal ones. Groovy. Internal nanobots.
Handheld communicator.
Groovy.
Chaytek intervention rifle.
Yes.
with a bunch of rounds of
Okay.
various types and
Great.
magic stone bayonet.
Okay.
And 3 HE grenades, 1 frag
Mhm.
grenade, 1 smoke grenade, and
Mhm.
the weird ass jagged knife from the necro I stole in the graveyard,
Oh yeah.
and my armor, including baseball cap and glasses.
Okay.
Oh, and my jetpack.
And your jetpack. Cool.
Pretty standard.
Pretty standard. You're good. Okay. Great. How you doing there, Bird?
Nearly done. Nearly done.
Okay. All right.
This is basically what I got.
Okay. If it's your gladiator body armor, the AR is 20. It's completely, for the lack of a better word, sealed. So you're fine with that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about AR in regards to that.
I should probably mention, I said this during the time that I was discussing this, but yeah, I'm also bringing my 3 electro stun grenades.
Okay, yeah, you gotta let me, I didn't have my headset on, remember, so you gotta let me know. Okay. All right, that's good. That's groovy. That's perfect. Surprised it's Tear Gas Pens. God, I love that name.
And you know what? I'm gonna bring one more thing.
Okay, that's fine.
Techno Wizard telekinesis gloves, just in case.
Okay, great.
Before everyone just sets out, anybody
Yeah.
want the belt that goes through things? Because I feel like that's pretty useful.
I do not want it.
Sorry, what? The belt that... What?
You can wear a belt, and you can activate it to go through solid objects.
Phase through solid objects,
Yeah, the phase belt.
But it's magic.
It is magic.
Yeah, I was going to say Lavin's, like, torn because it's like, oh, that's really cool, but... Oh, it's
I tossed
weird.
the
It
description
might turn me into
in...
some kind of crazy creature, and... No, I don't want that.
Okay. All right.
Then I'm gonna take it because I don't feel the most safe, and anything and everything would be very useful.
Okay.
Lavin's afraid he would fall through the ground into the core of the world and burn.
I mean...
fair enough. Okay.
It's a legitimate fear.
Sure, yeah. It would terrify me too. I'm not saying I didn't mean the laughter to anyway. You ass. All right. So, last chance. Anything else? Because after this point, it's it. It's in stone. I don't care if you say, "Oh, I forgot about this." It doesn't matter. We're gonna be done because I'm gonna give you a lot of information now, and it's gonna be planning phase, and it's too late to go back to the Rhapsody and pick up anything else.
I'm good. The only thing I want to say is this gladiator armor has a multi-optic helm. Just in case that matters.
Okay. Oh, that's good. That's good. Make sure everything's on the table so I don't get pissy. It's good. You gotta be careful. Sometimes GMs get pissy. I mean, I'm pretty easygoing when it comes to stuff like that, but anyway. All right. We're all good, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, Patrick is observing and assisting Lee. Marshmark, the small monk-like individual, now in a simple gray baggy suit, is also surveying the area. Now, Tom and Lavin are also checking out the area as well. So, Tom, go ahead and do your track animals. You make it harder by 20 because you're going to be looking for people. Oh, wait, no. You just want to look for animals and confirm that there aren't any in the area. Okay.
Like
so
if they're trying to avoid the place.
Yeah.
Okay. 58 out of 80.
Out of 80?
Yeah.
Yes. You can confirm that 500 feet away from the center of this ritual ground, there isn't, and there hasn't been for an extremely long time, if perhaps ever, there to be any animals. In addition, as you survey the area, you can see the corpses of a few birds and a few small animals, such as rabbits, squirrels, and groundhogs. They look emaciated, neglected, and untouched. Now, you know enough about the wilderness to know that An animal corpse in the woods is quickly recycled down and composted by a variety of insect life and scavengers.
Mhm.
Nothing has touched it, which means even the smallest insect itself has avoided this area. In addition, when you investigate these small animals and their death, you can confirm you do not see a single exterior sign of trauma. In fact, by the expressions and glassy eyes of these small, poor creatures, you'd almost think that they died of shock.
Oh, good.
Lavin, go ahead, and you mentioned 2 skills, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
survival and
Mhm.
detect concealment.
Yes. I would like you to roll both. In this case, no penalties, but I need to know how much you succeed or fail by.
This is my survival or my wilderness survival.
Great. All right.
This is
Detect concealment.
detect concealment.
Okay, 2 successes, one by 23, one by 11. Excellent. You can confirm that the stones themselves look the stones at the center of the ritual ground, although I'm sure you get the heebie-jeebies about the magic around the area, can confirm that they could stop pretty much any ballistic weapon, and that would be good cover. As far as the blackened stumps go, investigation of those implied that those would be extremely poor cover. About 400 feet away, when the leaves start to take shape back on the trees themselves, shows that that would be excellent places for both cover and concealment. And if you were to ambush anyone on the approach, this would be the place to do so. It'd be an excellent place in which to conceal yourself. In addition, right now you can confirm, looking through tracks and trying to detect other people that are, using your detect concealment skill, you can confirm with almost absolute certainty that there doesn't appear to be any other people in the area. If there are some sort of guardians to this area, they're either extremely well hidden or they're just not here to begin with. In addition, as you do your perimeter search, you notice a few other interesting goings on. The first and foremost is that the path you took to get to this area from the small dirt road that's about 1,000 feet away now is probably the main route most people will be taking if they arrive by vehicle. They'll take the same road and they'll pretty much take a direct line from the dirt road to the ritual ground, which means it would be an excellent place to place an ambush. However, you do notice 2 other sets of old tracks of feet that look vaguely humanoid in shape, but not really in size or stature. In fact, it makes you recall the absurd mobility of those strange creatures that attacked Frank Patterson's house with the strange rabbit masks, and the way some of them rolled or limped along or skittered along on strange limbs. It more resembles that. And you can see it looks like some have emerged going directly from the north and south of here. So you can assume that there are 3 separate routes in which possible enemies or attackers would come from. The main area to the east, to the south of the ritual ground, and to the north of the ritual ground.
Are these tracks swing away or toward, or both?
This is the perplexing thing. It looks like human-like feet, like yours or anyone else's, going towards, but going away from the ritual ground seems to be abnormal footprints.
See, this is why I don't like magic.
Now, that's the general area. Now I'm going to let you know what Marshmark and Lee have rolled and discovered. First thing is first. As far as the protections on this area, Lee is much more friendly about this. Marshmark is kind of withdrawn and muttering to himself, but Lee makes it clear to yourselves and all your other companions not to cross a certain threshold, which is 100 feet around from the center of the ritual ground until he's completed. Lee and Marshmark also have different approaches when it comes to this. Lee uses traditional incantations and from time to time takes out small bags of salt and dirt to to aid in his detection. However, Marshmark seems to be focused mostly on the very nondescript wooden staff he's been carrying this entire time. He clutches it as if he's terrified of losing it, but he also presses his forehead up against it in concentration, and he paces around the perimeter of the ritual in 6 separate circles going one way and 6 circles the other, muttering this low, unfamiliar speech to himself. Afterwards, Lee and Marshmark confer with each other, with Patrick listening in, and the end results are this. This area is extremely heavily warded. Whoever prepared this area did so for a long time, and there is deep residual magic almost originating from the center point itself. There is some good news and there is some bad news. The good news is that there are 5 wards that can be that have been detected, and they all can be dispersed. The wards are alarm, fear, paralysis, agony, and a curse that would undergo anyone who crossed a certain threshold. The fear, paralysis, agony, and curse, it would simply take Marshmark and Lee approximately 40 minutes, and they would all be gone. Lee suggests, however, that you do not disperse the alarm ward, since that will actually let your enemies know that you're here and prepare the trap. However, there is some bad news. Much to Marshmark's extreme chagrin and also bafflement, he admits that there are 2 other wards that are so deep and so powerful, there is nothing he, and Lee can confirm there's nothing he can do about it either, to prevent it. They are within 100 feet of the center. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Within 100 feet of the center, psionics are completely and utterly blocked. In addition, all magical effects are at half power, half range, half duration, half effectiveness. These are old and powerful wards, which might not even originate from the major 3. It might originate from this torpid anathema, which Marshmark thinks literally resides underneath the earth below you right now. In addition, after a little bit more conferring, Marshmark says that the summoning ritual to this torpid anathema cannot be completely negated. However, it can be stunted, which means he can prepare a ritual that muffles, that insulates the magic energy that is coming from this ritual center, making it 5 times as long to cast any ritual. And it would be disruptive enough to cause any who try to activate it extremely concerned. In fact, he's quite certain that stunting it enough means that as long as your opponents are distracted or attacked, there is absolutely no way they would be able to concentrate enough power to start the ritual. However, stunting the ritual ground in this way would affect Lee's summoning, which means if Marshmark is to stunt this ritual area, preventing the ritual to be undergone while you're in combat, he will not be able to summon the large earth golem he talked about before. It would just be impossible. So you have a choice. You know rituals take time regardless, but you don't know exactly how many are coming or how long it really takes. You can either take the risk and not stunt the summoning ritual and have Lee summon his large golem, or you can be a little bit more conservative, prevent Lee summoning the golem, but making it so summoning the ritual in combat by any enemy is impossible.
Couldn't we summon the golem first?
No. Unfortunately, there would not be enough time. It would take about half an hour to an hour for Lee to summon the golem, and it will take Marshmark an hour and a half to do the stunting ritual. Therefore, there's just not enough time. There's too much overlap.
Yeah. I'm personally thinking we go conservative. Just prevent the Torpid Anathema, which is the biggest, hugest threat, from coming around. What do you guys think?
Okay.
Piff? Piff, you're muted. Piff?
R.I.P. Anathema got Piff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
So you're going with the conservative route?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Marshmark is going to begin his stunting of the ritual, his stunting ritual of the hallowed ground. I'm going to describe that in a moment, but that's going to take some time. Now, let's do a very quick suggestion on what to do with possible interlopers. Now, as a GM to your players, this combat will be much easier if I only have to really focus on you three, right? Which doesn't mean the NPCs will do absolutely nothing. My suggestion, and this is just a suggestion, use your NPCs as ambushers on possible routes of entry to this ritual ground, and they can defeat or hinder anyone who might be coming to try to disrupt you. This might be other cultists, this might be other necromancers, this might be whoever is a part of the Order of the Lapine. And they can, I can descriptively, talk about their combat in between rounds and all that good stuff. But it would be a good way for them to be actively involved in this fight, yet not enough to bog down these combat rounds. Now,
I like this.
Exactly. You're down with that? Because exactly
Yes.
where they go or anything like that, it's all up to you. But I think
That's
that
totally
makes
fine.
the most sense. Okay.
Yes,
Great.
absolutely.
Wonderful. And I'll roll each round to see how effective they are and see if any people slip through or anything like that. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. So the idea then is, now I'm still gonna have 2 NPCs fight with you in this ritual ground, specifically Marshmark and Lee, since they need to be close to this ritual square anyway, and they know the most about magic, right? Sound fair? So
good.
kind of in the center protective area is going to be you three, Lee, and Marshmark. Then your NPCs will be around the perimeter, attacking, ambushing, neutralizing, killing whoever's trying to interfere. Groovy?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Now, would you like the NPCs to kind of go on their own volition? Maybe point out, what Lavin found out about, the north and southern entrance ways and the main route, and just have them set up their own ambush and everything like that, and kind of leave it up to them?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yes.
That can be done. 3 teams are created. Jalea, Yasmin, Basilisk, and Ezek, since they work very well as a team, are going to take the south route. Blink, Alicia, and August. Blink, Alicia, August, and... Sorry. Wait a second. Bear, August, Marlis, Stotch are going to take the northern route because Bear's really good at ambush, and August and Marlis will be far in the distance, kind of just picking things off from a concealed position. And the main force, the big oomph, which is Blink in her power armor, her big 1930s robot power armor, and Alicia. Am I forgetting anyone else? I don't think so.
No, I don't think you are. Everybody
No.
else is
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Those two are going to take the main route, since they have the biggest arsenal and can cause the biggest amount of
boom.
collateral damage.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. Great.
Just to clarify,
Mhm.
I have a question. We're
Yeah,
gonna
lay it on
be
me.
in here. So in this circle, psionics and stuff are essentially nullified.
Yes, within 100 feet, yes.
Within 100 feet. Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Okay.
Yeah.
The entire map I measured already.
Fuck.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What about activating, like, Techno-Wizard devices?
Well, if Techno-Wizard devices are magic, so they would have half range, half damage, half efficiency.
Oh. Okay.
So you can still activate them with your psychic powers, but as magic weapons, they would have half efficiency. What?
Oh,
What are you
goody.
doing here, Al? You're away.
Woo.
All right.
Okay?
Yep.
I know, eh?
Yep.
Powerful evil ritual ground. Cakewalk. All right. So, Lee suggests that if Marshmark should finish his ritual first to stunt the ground, and that'll take an hour and a half, which means 30 minutes before 10 o'clock, the alarm ward could be triggered, and you can just brace yourself for an influx. Now, you could do it right at 10 o'clock, or you can wait a little while. You can wait about another hour or so, and that'll be around 11 o'clock, and by then, perhaps Paul Hill and Albert Sweet will have been dealt with or in the midst of being dealt with. Or you can just try to jolt them right away, and maybe that distraction of the alarm might lower their guard enough for the assassins or neutralizers to get themselves a bit of a bonus.
Yeah,
what I'm talking about?
It might lower the guard, but it also might cause them to leave their current location, which might screw up.
Yeah. It's a 50-50. So, what would you rather do? Do it right at 10 o'clock or wait about an hour or two?
My vote's on wait. Let them get the job done, then we'll cause the commotion and deal with whatever's left over.
Yes.
Okay.
Piff?
All right. So now you are within... It's 2 miles away from Velda City. Pretty sure your radios can go that far. Actually, I'm quite certain they can go that far. So, everyone, all your NPCs, it's black as night. And this is the other thing, real quick. The sun begins to set completely, and here in the middle of this blackened, twisted, cursed ritual place becomes completely and utterly dark, with the exception of some of the very small cracks in the dirt. You could swear you can see light coming from it. And not only that, you swear it's just from the corner of your eyes. Just a small hint. But it seems like there's color. A deep, deep red that's almost black itself. The darkest of crimson. Almost like the light itself is leaking, pulsing, yearning, be free from underneath the earth. Do you turn on any light sources? Or do you stay there in the dark?
I have night vision. I'm happy with dark.
Okay.
I'm happy with dark as well.
Okay. Patrick?
Patrick is not particularly too happy, but also knows that he'd be a stupid freaking beacon of light if he shot at anything, so he's not going to do anything at the moment until something happens.
Okay. Now, as you wait here, waiting for the time to pass on by, minutes pass, and it seems so much slower now. You've had a few hours to prepare, but the hour between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock in position, seems to slow to a crawl. Every time you check your timepieces, it seems that although 15 minutes should have passed, only one has passed instead. I would like all of you to roll a save versus horror factor. The threshold is 12. Tom succeeds. Lavin succeeds. Patrick, looks like you failed, though. Tom, Lavin, you can feel a slight unease, but you're able to focus your minds, either Lavin pushing out this ridiculous magic mumbo jumbo, Tom perhaps using your experience or reflecting or meditating, however you want to do it in character. Patrick, however, that unease you feel about not wanting to be a beacon, that unease is replaced with a deeper unease. You can place yourself however you want, by the way. I've just kind of stuck you in the center just for funsies. But Patrick, it's that strange glowing that's underneath the earth. You can't see it. You can't. It's the color that bothers you. It's as the longer and longer you wait, you can almost feel like it's a pulse underneath of you, like you're standing on top of a large living thing, and you can hear its infernal black heartbeat run up from the earth down to the bottom of your feet and up your spine. It is unsettling. It is extremely worrisome. And unfortunately for you, it will give you a -2 to all combat rolls for as long as you're within this area. Groovy?
Yeah.
Okay. Groovy. So feel free to roleplay it however you want. Like, don't worry, you don't have to like run away screaming, but it is you've never felt anything like this before. And what might add even worse is that your Cread has been jumping against you so violently you have never in your entire life, for as long as you've had this thing, felt it move so fast and so far. In fact, that is a part of your -2 as well, how utterly distracting this thing it is. Your poor Create is like a living thing up against your chest, writhing and trying to get away from whatever you're standing on. At 10:40, you hear the crisp, clear voice over your radios of the husky, professional voice of Sienna, who says, Target eliminated. That's all she says. At 3 minutes to 11 o'clock, you hear a rushed, hurried voice of Al, who lets you know that they found Sweet, but unfortunately, the Obsidian Man has been heavily damaged, and Sweet is on the run. Ellie, Dex is staying behind with the Obsidian Man, and Al has no idea how to repair him or heal him, and him and Ellie are on the chase with him. They should be able to catch him because Sweet is heavily wounded as well. But unfortunately, the Obsidian Man was unable to capture him. He tried to do some sort of strange alien blast to ensnare Sweet, but some sort of magical defense blocked it, and they're currently on pursuit. They will let you know when and if they find him and where he's headed. But with that, the alarm is triggered. And you wait. And you wait. And you wait. 15 minutes pass, and you hear Ellie's voice saying victoriously that they caught him. They found Sweet. They tried to capture him alive, but he proved too deadly. And Al put his holy blade through his heart, and Sweet is dead.
Killing people and torturing people. God, Al.
He didn't have much of a choice.
Thought you were the good guy, man.
Leave him alone. He's not even here. Ellie, I'll talk to Al and see how he wants to role play it, right? But the idea is that Ellie kind of caught him. She tackled him, and Sweet was in the middle of casting another incantation that could hurt someone, so Al just kind of finished the job.
I'm just messing with you.
I know you are. I know you are. If you can hear this squeeze, Spiral still giving you shit from beyond the ether. Well, we talked. What did we say? It's true friends who tease each other. It's when they stop teasing each other is when you should be worried.
That's right.
True.
It's when people aren't making fun of you. You should be weird.
Yeah. Okay. And then you start to hear a rustling, and then you start to hear, excuse me, as I belched into my microphone. Sorry.
We didn't hear that.
Oh, good. Well, it was a.
But now we know you did it because you told us.
It was kind of a bit of a burp than a belch. Anyway, you hear the fire of heavy weaponry coming from the east, and a few glows of light coming from where Alicia and Blink are. A few shouts, surprised shouts, guttural, bestial shouts. You start to hear sounds coming from the south as well. And then north, sounds of combat. Shouts of surprise, shouts of combat. Through the sky, wait. Give me 2 seconds. I know it's an anticipation, but there's art for this too. God damn it. And I want to incorporate the art too. So give me 2 seconds and just look up the page.
Like 30-second AFK. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Take a bathroom break real quick while I art. Oh shit, I don't have a page number. It's okay. That's okay. Never mind, I found her. Oh man, sweet. All right.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Can just take a moment.
I was rushing back expecting art. I don't see any
Well-
art. Inferno.
You know what?
Relax, guy. Jeez.
God, man.
I know, I'm the fucking worst. Alright.
Spiraling such dick all the time, being all mean to everybody.
God, how dare you?
Yeah. Hey,
Okay.
it's all good. At least your map wasn't stolen from StarCraft this time.
Motherfucker.
just. No, actually, that
Oh
was
my
awesome. I
God.
was like, oh, sweet, it's a StarCraft map. That's awesome.
You know what? I'd rather spend my time designing. I mean, some people love to make maps. I just don't have that sort of artistic skill. So I like to create
I hear
fun
ya.
scenarios and NPCs and just have someone else generate the maps. So that's why I do an effective use of the whiteboard because of these very reasons. Okay. I'm gonna just, as I quickly upload this and all this other good stuff and continue with my description, I would like you all to roll me initiative and go ahead and put that in the spreadsheet. Just to,
Okay.
so we're doing two things at the same time.
Wow. I got a 3.
Yeah. You sure did.
This game's dumb. I don't want to play anymore.
Come on, man.
Well, you know what? That's very akin to the role playing experience. You roll low and you're just like, this game is fucking stupid. I hate it.
Who made this game? These guys are dumb.
Why did I decide on dice? Why can't I just decide if I succeed or fail?
Yeah.
Stupid game.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna plug it. No dice and scythe. Interesting. Anyway, go on.
Oh, it's a board game with no dice. Interesting.
No dice. 0 RNG other than setup, which has some RNG but is known at the start of the game. Anyway.
Shit. Okay. Neat. Okay. I have to quickly roll for initiative as well for Lee and Marsh.
I'll fill the time. You know what's annoying as a GM is
Marsh.
trying to track initiative for stealthed monsters that the players don't know about.
It is
God,
annoying.
that's freaking annoying. It's
Yep.
like really just consuming, and then you forget it was their turn. It was like,
Yeah,
oh, and actually this guy was supposed to kill you. Whoops.
that's the worst thing about just the GM is keeping track of stuff, even like professional ones. Like I've been watching Harmon Quest, and the poor GM is like, "Oh shit, I forgot that was their turn. Okay, they attack now." And you're just like, "God damn it."
Harmon Quest. I haven't heard of that one.
Harmon Quest is great. Well, Dan Harmon is a little insufferable, but because he's an attention whore.
Wait, a little insufferable.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. He has good moments. The other time, you're just like, hey, you know what, dude? Maybe it doesn't all have to be about you. But
Hey, what GM isn't like that?
he's not the
At the end of the
GM.
day-
He's a player.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an entirely
That's a
different
different
thing.
kettle of fish, isn't it? But
Except for you said it was called Harmon Quest?
Yeah, I know, because he's Dan Harmon. So no one else knows the other three people, so who cares? Anyways, it's D&D, but they animate their adventure, and there's comedy, and there's guest stars, and all sorts of good stuff. It is decent. It is very entertaining, and there's some really funny shit.
Am I supposed to know who Dan Harmon is?
He's the guy who created Community and Rick and Morty and other popular shows like that.
So I don't know who he is. That's fine.
That's fine.
Oh, I might check it out. I've been looking for stuff to watch on YouTube. So
I would really highly suggest Harmon Quest. It's excellent. Okay, everyone has their attacks. Tom, you have 5, right?
Yes, I do.
such a cheater.
Okay, Lee.
Just cheating
Sorry,
all the
guys.
time.
Lee's got 13.
Why am I cheating?
No, ignore the mumbling crazy man in the corner.
I like to accuse people of random things because I'm bitter.
Well, the first step is acknowledge.
Maybe you should just go and have another beer. I mean,
I don't even like beer. Just saying.
okay, sure.
No, it's true. I don't like beer.
Oh well, that's fine.
It's yucky.
Wow, learning stuff from your 12-year. I mean, for your 12-year-old, from your 3-year-old.
That's right.
And let me do the last initiative. Ignore the question marks. You don't know what question marks are.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
You know what they are, or if they're good, or if they're bad. Whoops! Don't roll
Well,
D100. That's not initiative.
Here I think Tom's cheating, and these other assholes have 6 attacks per melee.
They do.
Yeah.
Or at least seems
How
fair.
dare they? How dare they?
Yeah.
Okay, sort them. Wait, should I sort them?
I can
Sort
do
the
it.
minions.
Go,
me a
minions,
second.
go! I'll sort them.
No, I got it.
Fly! Pretty!
Boom! I sorted.
I love that. Sort. Okay, someone else sort them. I'm just so used to Squee telling us to sort it. I figured I'd do the same thing. Okay, can someone sort this, please? I'm like, it's not that long. Hard, you can learn. All right. So let me actually describe the setup now. Now that we got the initiative and stuff. You hear the flutter of wings as through the dark, those with night vision can see piercing through the sky above the blackened canopy of the surrounding trees and stumps of trees. You can see, once again, 3 more of those strange, winged-like mutations descending towards your direction. They're approximately 150 feet away as they, broach your sight line. So they're 150 feet away when we start the combat. You also hear this strange buzzing noise in the dark, but you're unable to see exactly where it originates. Near the center of the stonework, however, Lavin, we're going to say, you do see, for a split second, almost like a small, fat, black flying beetle hit the air, descending from on high. And in a flash, that beetle begins to grow and grow and grow and grow. And for a second, you can see the twisted visage of an old crone, an old lady, before that itself begins to twist and take shape. It grows and grows, larger and larger, until it is 7 feet tall, and it looks nothing like the frail old woman before. It is a demonic visage of a creature, rippled with muscles, strange scale-like skin, a long head with 3 putrid eyes standing in front of it, in the center of this ritual ground, giving a surprised and frustrated noise as our combat begins. Before I do so, any questions or concerns? I'm assuming you guys can see the creature in the center.
Oh,
I
I
have
can
some
see that
concerns.
ugly fucker. Oh yeah.
Great. And it's too big. It is definitely not 20 feet around. Give me a second.
Let me just
as I
let me just
shrink it a
let me
little
just
bit.
measure. 24 feet.
Yeah, now that's more like it.
Oh, that's far
Okay.
less intimidating. I was worried, but I'm okay now.
I want you to see the picture. Yeah, wait till you see. I mean, yeah. You got this, no problem. Lee gives a surprised sound at the sudden appearance of this creature. as he quickly casts a spell, and a bolt of lightning escapes from his fingertips and heads towards the creature. The creature, however, is going to be doing a save, actually specifically a dodge, and misses. The bolt of lightning hits it squarely in the center. However, it simply appears to just hit its large shoulder area and just create this very impotent scorch mark on it. Nice try, Lee. Tom.
Okay, I'm going to shoot it with my rifle. I would like
Okay.
to try and shoot it in one of its many eyes.
Okay. Hitting the eye is a -9 to hit.
All right.
You have to get over 12.
I got a 14.
Okay. It can take a defensive action,
Mhm.
in which it is going to, and it's going to try and dodge. Now, how far are you? Well, beyond 50 feet, which means it can add its dodge bonus.
Mhm.
Okay, so then it's really just a -2. It doesn't dodge.
Looking at a 0, that looks like a 0. We're seeing
Yeah,
a
that
0.
looks like a 0.
It rolled a 2. Go ahead and roll damage.
All right. 17 to the eye.
You hit the centermost eye, and with a horrible thud, a noise, and the squelch in the background, it gives a horrible and surprised shriek as its center eye is now just a pulpy, putrid mass. Good shot.
Sweet.
It, however, is extremely unamused.
You mean it didn't laugh after getting shot in the eye?
No, it doesn't. It says a few twisted words in putrid speech, and suddenly, there's not just one of them there. There are 6.
Oh, shit.
It seems to have split into 6 separate beings, all standing around in the center of that circle. The creatures from on high, I'm going to just call them flying cultists, continue to screech and fly towards you, but being 150 feet away, they won't get within contact with you until the end of the melee round. So I'm really going to just X them out completely from this melee round and move it to Marshmark. Marshmark also has apparently a sudden surprise up his sleeve. He holds on to his staff once more, and in a few mere seconds, you can see his body itself emerge and take shape. Suddenly, it's almost like his body becomes the skin of a snake as it is shed completely, and a long, wingless, serpentine creature emerges from him. It is 17 feet long, and its head resembles that of a dragon. It wisps and swirls in the air as it lashes towards this creature and attempts to bite it along the torso. That's 2 attacks, Marshmark. 1 for the metamorphosis and 1 for the attack. Let's see how well you do. Patrick, while I'm rolling this attack and damage and all that good stuff, I want you to do me a monster and lore check, please. Make it harder by 20.
Okay. Let's see. Monster lore. 20.
Okay.
Succeed by 28.
This, you have heard rumors of, is something called a were-dragon. It's not truly a dragon. It is not a magical beast or a supernatural entity. It's more of an alien type race that perhaps somewhere far, 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 far in the distance was related to dragons at some point. You do know they have considerable abilities, and by the spikes and dark glowing eyes of this creature, you're assuming it's some sort of magically altered variety. In addition, you also know that where dragons don't typically learn anything about magic, which makes Marshmark extremely unique typically. Um, you don't know much else about their race, especially here in the flurries of combat, but you're at least able to identify that Marshmark wasn't horribly attacked and turned into a horrible beast. This is probably his race. Groovy Beans?
Yes.
Marshmark's serpentine body swirls and courses through the air, trying to lash at the alien demonic creature in the center. Unfortunately, a single blow of the creature's large arm deflects it to one side, preventing any sort of bite from landing. Lavin.
Now, if I'm to understand correctly,
Uh-huh.
Marshmark's dragon form, whatever, is sort of in the center of this whole.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't make a Marshmark relief token.
No,
Give me a second.
that's fine. I just,
Yeah,
I'm just sort of. Lavin would be
pretty
aware
much
of the
right in
fact that
ga-
if I throw a
Mhm.
grenade into all this, I'm gonna blow up my buddy.
Yes, there is a good chance. Yeah, he is right next to this horrible demon thing. Now, if you want, though, Lavin, you could call out to Marshmark, just like you can do with any PZ. You can do like a paired action, right? So you can call out to him, say, "Frickin' move!" And as he moves out of the way, you throw the grenade. So both of you spend an action. He spends an action getting out of the way. You spend the action throwing the grenade, and then you're all set. It'll just eat up one of his actions.
Now, Tom shot this guy,
Yes, in
and
the
then
center
then
eye.
it split.
Yeah,
Are they-
yeah. There's like 5 of them now. Yeah, sorry, 6 of them.
And they're all similarly injured.
Yes, they all look the same. Injuries and everything. And I guess Marshmark is wrestling with one of them.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go with a paired action if we can do that, where I can just
Yeah.
throw a grenade and tell him to GTFO.
Yes, of course, of course, of course. So he's going to GTFO, and he's very agile and mobile in his kind of snaky serpentine dragon form. So he takes a moment and just bolts right out of there in just a matter of a few seconds. As you let hurl a what grenade?
They don't. I imagine they're fairly clustered, right? I imagine.
Yes.
a
Oh,
high
yeah. They're
explosive
all
grenade.
within 10 feet of each.
10 feet.
Yeah.
Oh, a frag grenade then.
Okay. All right. So you let loose with a frag grenade. Go ahead and roll to hit.
I'm assuming
Mhm.
an aim shot doesn't apply to this.
No. It would just be like a thrown weapon. So just to roll a 1d20, and if you have any bonus, yeah,
that's
there you
what
go.
I get.
Great. Okay, so that's more. Wait, how far away are you? Oh, that's a little too far away. That's a miss from that distance. However, it still scatters. So I'm gonna say it'll scatter about 10 feet away. Okay, you know what? Let's make this easy. Roll a d100. If you get 30 or less, it scatters somewhere where it's most of the creatures are still in the blast radius. If you get over 30%, then it scatters away. Make sense? Okay. So unfortunately, the grenade, you hurl it and you miss the trajectory, and it goes far down south, clinking off this wall, explodes in this big shatter of earth and dirt, but misses the demonic creature completely.
That sounds pretty standard for every game I use grenades in. So.
You still got more grenades. You never know. All right. And if you got a little bit closer, that would have been a hit, right? Because within 50 feet, if it's over 5, you're good. If it's beyond 50 feet, you have to get over 10. Patrick.
Now, I would like to do 2 things, but I'm unsure if that will actually take up 2 actions.
I'll
I'd
let you
like
know.
to press a button and throw a grenade.
Where's the button?
It's on my arm.
Yeah, you can do that. No, that's you're able to do both. That's fine. That'll be one action.
Okay.
And activation is so small and so slight. I'm going to allow it.
All right. So Patrick is definitely going to activate, as well as throw a grenade.
So wait, what are you activating first? So we all know.
The pearl gauntlet
Okay.
The bracers.
bracer.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, great. That gives you additional SDC, right? 60, I believe.
Yes, which I think is 30 now.
Oh yeah, because of magic. Yes, you're right.
It's 20 now because of the magic. The maximum was 40.
Oh,
40?
okay,
Right,
so it's 20.
20.
All right.
Yeah.
And Patrick is going to throw one of his electronic grenades. Electro grenade. Go, Patrick, behind your tiny tree that you do not want to move from. All right.
Okay. So you hurl a grenade at the center of here, and I think this creature does not want to get hit. So it's going to try and dodge as well. Now, dodging a grenade is a bit of a penalty to her bonus, so she's only going to get a +4, or he, or whatever. Shifty eyes. Hey, natural 1! Hey, you know what, Lavin? This thing sucks more than we. So don't feel bad, because right now, Verosimoth here, spoiler alert, also thinks this game is stupid. You hit it. It uses this attack. It tries to move. You see the images stumble in one direction all at once, but not in time to avoid the grenade. So what are its effects? What's its range, and what are its effects?
I think it's a save versus non-lethal poison. It doesn't say that, but it also says a successful save throw means blank. So I'm assuming that it's a.
Can you
non-lethal.
give me the description, because it's been eons since you've used this?
This attack disorients and confuses victims. Victims forfeit 1 attack per melee. Speed is halved, and a -4 to strike, parry, and dodge.
Okay, and it's save negates, or save does.
Saving throw means that the person has successfully fought off the effect and is unimpeded.
Okay, and you don't know what saving throw it is, though, but it's probably non-lethal poison.
Non-lethal poison is my best guess.
I would agree, if it's kind of a stun thing, right?
It's
is this a chemical? Pulse. Is this a chemical, or is this
This is actually just electricity.
Okay, so it's an electronic attack. Okay, all right, that's good. Give me just 2 seconds to quickly look up the critter's saves. This will just take all of 2 seconds. Okay, and non-lethal is, you have to beat a 16. All right, let's see how you do. You get a +4. 1d20 +4. Yeah, it succeeded. So, the attack, a sudden spark of electricity fills the center of this ritual stone area, and a small jolt goes up against all 6 figures in the center. Unfortunately, it appears that this creature has shrugged off the attack and is no worse for wear. Lee gives a bit of a curse, and okay, this is what he's going to do. He's going to spend his next 2 actions Yeah. Okay. Lee's technically running off the map. Suffice to say, he has, some of his magic has range longer than 100 feet, and he wants to get away from this magic dampening ward. So he's spending his actions and he's hightailing it outside of the sphere. And he's going to just yell, "Keep it busy! Keep it busy!" Tom.
Okay, I would like to use however many actions it takes to get up to this point, take out a plasma grenade, and chuck it. This is
I'll just take one action. What's your speed value?
my speed value is 15.
Okay, so and that's about 20 feet. So it's going to take, if for you to move there and throw the grenade, is going to take 2 actions.
I'm fine with that. So basically, I
Okay.
want to be within 50 feet, throw a plasma grenade.
Okay, throw it.
Okay. 5.
Well, you're within 50 feet now, so there's a bonus. Does it bother? It doesn't bother to dodge. Roll damage.
Okay.
The last grenade didn't hurt it, so...
I'm trying to find the damage. Sorry.
Okay. That's all right. You know, if we have to resume this combat, beginning of next session, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just play as long as we need to, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, there it is. 5d6 to a 12-foot area.
12-foot area. Okay, roll 5d6.
Yeah. 17 again.
Okay. Doing 17 damage. A bright light surrounds the 6 figures, and when it emerges, you can see smoke and embers off all of these figures. Good job doing like these splash attacks, guys. That's very clever. That's Tom Verosimoth. However, the 6 figures soon once again metamorphosize into the tiniest speck of 6 tiny flying wasps. They don't fly anywhere because they don't have enough time, but now this is a much, 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 much smaller target to hit. Marshmark. Shit. He will attempt to make a bite, eat one of these flying critters. But he has a now 3 to this attack because it's so small. Yeah, that's enough to hit. Now, buddy, you have to roll. Oh shit!
That's a 200.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's good because
for the
it's
spell.
a 6 for the spell, right?
Mhm.
Because he has a 1 in 6 chance of actually hitting the right target, and he just got it.
Nice.
So shit. Okay. Fuck it. This is interesting. Marshmark moves to bite at the small flying rasp and actually swallows it whole. And as he does so, the other 5 figures of wasp floating around the one he hit disappear. As it looks like he's consumed it. Your turn. There are still 3 of those flying figures coursing towards you.
Okay. Lavin?
Shit, now what's gonna happen? Yeah, sorry, Lavin, your turn.
Oh, by your turn, I wasn't sure who you meant. Okay, so the closest of the 3 flying figures, I guess I'll take a shot at it.
Okay, all right. They're kind of doing it in a flying V, so you'll get the center one. They're now approximately about 80 feet away. So, do you want to do a called shot to an area, or just want to hit their main body?
The flying figures, what are we talking about exactly?
Okay. Do you remember at Frank Patterson's? There's 3 different type of mutants. They were the kind of spidery kind, the fat roly kinds, and the ones that looked. They had like horrible ribs as wings at the back of their back, and they were
Yeah.
flying
okay.
around and landing
The
on the
Dead
roof.
Space ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
No aim shot. I'm just gonna make sure I hit him.
Okay, you hit the shit out of him. Roll damage.
That's a hit.
It couldn't dodge that if it wanted to. It has no actions left.
You shooting the 30-06?
No, that Chaytek thingy.
Yeah, Chaytek intervention.
Oh. Oh.
That is very good. You hit it right underneath its chest, creating a large, significant wound that your night vision can see. Patrick,
Yes.
your turn.
Oh, it's fucking dark. Probably could see the outline of the thing in the middle. These flying things are probably not as going to be as easy. So I think he's going to activate his ring for a globe of daylight.
Okay, great. You can see 60 feet around you now, clearly. You still have that -2, though.
Yeah.
It's spoopy.
Well, I think that's my turn on. No, okay. I can probably say a word and then shoot.
Sure.
Probably be more of a wild shot, but
Yeah, I'll be a wild shot.
all right. I am going to take out my flechette rifle and take a wild shot at one of the flying things.
The center one that Lavin wounded, or the one to the right of it.
Ooh. I'm not quite sure if you'd be too picky. I'm gonna have it up to the roll. Left to right. So left will be most left will be 1. The most right will be 3.
So
2.
the center
No.
one.
And I got a 9, missed.
Yep, that's a miss because they're 80 feet away. Yeah. Okay, that's Patrick. Tom. I already used your action. Okay, good. Tom.
I would like to shoot the same one everybody's been shooting.
Okay, the center one. You got it.
Yes.
Now hold up a second.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see 80 feet in the darkness?
I have the multi-optic helmet.
That has night vision?
Let me double check to see which ones I have on it.
Yeah,
it has infrared, telescopic, thermo imager.
Okay. Do you know the ranges of those?
1,600 feet.
Oh, okay. All right. So what do you want to have? Infrared? Thermal imaging?
Infrared and the targeting sight. Both at 1,600.
With the infrared and targeting sight on, you do not see anything.
Oh. Well, shit. Then thermo imager.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it'll take a turn for you to switch it to thermal energy, but you can still spend your next action shooting.
All right. Then I
Boom.
will shoot.
At this point now, no penalties. The thermo allows it.
9.
It is a miss, unfortunately.
Okay. Then those are my turns.
Shoot off to one side. Okie dokie. Marshmark begins to panic, and you hear him say, "It has to come out! It has to come out!" As he tries to... Okay, this is weird. He's like gagging and spitting, and this is like a weird-ass grapple check between it and the metamorphosized demon it swallowed. So Marshmark, you're going to get a +2, and the creature's going to get +0. 8 And for its first action, you see it gag and wheeze, but nothing seems to come out of it. Lavin.
Is the one everyone was shooting at dead?
Nope. You're the only one who hit it, and although it is wounded, it is still determiningly flying towards you.
Oh!
Holy shit, dude. All right, roll damage again.
Holy shit.
All right, another crack as the rifle goes off. Another splat as you hit it once again in its center mass. And this thing gives a horrible shriek. It is still flying towards you, but it is limply and extremely wounded. You feel another solid shot, or maybe even a weaker one like that, will down this beast. Patrick, now you don't have to do wild shots.
Yeah. Oh, but now his friend's gagging on a thing.
Yeah. And Marshmark, he's swirling around in an absolute panic.
All right. Patrick doesn't have an immediate answer for that, so what he's going to do is probably continue shooting at the things flying at him.
Okay.
So I think he's going to gather a bit more information and actually try to shoot another target. The one to the left.
Okay.
Just making sure that I have my pluses correct. Hunting, sure. Yep. All right, then.
All right, that's a hit. Go ahead and roll damage, please.
It doesn't do damage. This is a trank dart.
Okay. I'm assuming save versus non-lethal poison?
Yeah. It saves.
The flechette tranquilizer hits it, but other than just causing it to hesitate for a moment, it doesn't look like it has affected it just yet. Marshmark continues to try to gag. +2. And 1d20. Okay. He continues to gag and writhe around. And so on and so forth. Lavin.
All right, the one that's approaching me.
Yes, the center one? Well, all three are kind of approaching your general area.
The one that's been shot twice already.
Yeah. The one that's on its last leg, so to speak. That's an 18. Roll damage, my friend.
Or a last wing, as it were.
Well, that's most certainly the case, my friend. There's another expert shot from your hands. Hits it now right in the center of its chest. And it gives this horrible wailing shriek as it falls from the sky, bloody and limp, crashing into the blackened trees beneath it, completely and utterly dead. Patrick.
He still wants to help his friend, but he can't. He's gonna keep shooting at the most left one. That's enough to hit.
Great. Let me have it continue to try to do its save.
And
apparently it is a 14.
Yes, it's a 14.
Wait, save versus non-lethal poison is a 16, isn't it?
Yes, but this one's special.
Yeah,
and
this is a special one.
Oh, you should. Well, I guess the 19 succeeded anyway. But okay, good to know. No, thanks for letting me know. He succeeds yet again. Determined little sucker. Okay, but we're gonna do like one more combat round, probably before we call it, if that's okay by you guys.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Okay. But I'm going to give you a brief description of what's going on as well. You continue to hear the sounds of melee and fight, and fight.
Whoa.
Fight happens, fight noises. No, you can, throughout the darkness around you, you can hear the sounds of battle get stronger and more desperate. However, the shrieks and surprise noises of pain do not sound like any of your friends from you can recognize from the distance. Most of the howls are bestial and gurgling as well. However, you do hear Alicia give a shout that I lost one. And you start to hear the startled and surprised noise of Lee off about 100, 150 feet off to one side, as it sounds like he's struggling with someone, wrestling and grunting, and you hear sounds of exertion. While I'll go on their turn, the two remaining flying creatures continue their descent and begin a charging trajectory towards you. Verosimoth continues to swirl around the center in increasingly panicked tones, doing his best to regurgitate the wasp-like demon that it initially struck with its mouth. The sounds of struggle continue, and Lee... Give me 2 seconds. You hear a bit of a grunt of exertion, and hear Lee, "Off of me, you bastard!" And you hear a crack of the sound of electricity coming from that direction. And then a sudden howl. Tom.
Okay, let's take another shot at one of the flying things that are coming down. Let's go for the right one.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
That
a hit. It saw what happened to its bite. It doesn't want to get shot. It's very unlikely he's going to succeed, but he doesn't know that, so he's going to give it a shot. Minus 10 with his bonus makes this a minus 5. Yeah, he doesn't make it. But he used action anyway. Roll damage, please.
21.
21. And what are you firing with? A rifle?
Yes, a 30-06 rifle.
Okay.
Old
Crack
one-shot,
of the
actually.
rifle. Oh, cool. Crack of old one shot hits the air as the bullet whizzes through the sky and smacks this thing right in the center mass. That's Tom. Suddenly, from the center, you can hear a sudden panicked shriek coming from the were-dragon that is Marshmark. A horrible, surprising scream and then a tearing sound. Suddenly, in a shower of gore, Marshmark is completely and utterly torn into two as the demon once again resumes its normal 7-foot size. The upper half of Marshmark flies around limply for a few minutes, its tail portion flicking in the dark air as blood, dark, deep blood, begins to soak into the earth. Marshmark is extremely dead. This demon-like creature, covered in its ichor, and for just a moment, as the blood seeps into the earth, you can feel what seems to be a shifting underneath the ground as the demon laughs this horrible, hollow, cackling noise. Rip Marshmark! Oh, by the way, well, no, never mind, not by the way. Ignore what I was about to say.
All right.
Metamorphosizing was Verosimoth's action. The flying cultists begin to dive bomb. They're going to take an action apiece. One used it to dodge, but another one still has an action left. One is going to be dive bombing the man with the big glowing light over his head, while the other one is going to be dive bombing into the woods at Lavin, who shot down its companion. These are going to be, well, not really charge attacks, but they're going to be attacks. However, I believe from where you guys are positioned, you are behind some cover, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I would think so.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to say that the stumps you are hiding behind give you 40% cover, all right? So I'm going to roll to see if I can't strike you first with these guys, and before you take a defensive action, I'm going to roll D100. If it gets under 40, it's just going to hit the stump. It's not going to hit you, so. Okay, 1d20, and they have a +3. So this one's towards Patrick. 7, that will be enough to hit, because it's a melee attack. And this one is against Lavin, which is enough to hit. Now, this one's for Patrick. Let's see if we get under 40. We do. So it's gonna completely miss you and nick the stump that you're in front of. So you don't need to worry about taking defensive action. And 40% for Lavin, which is a fail. So it manages to dodge or get beyond or around the cover that you're taking, Lavin. And it is making a swipe at your head. No, actually, I should have made a cold shot ahead of time, and I didn't. So shame on me. So it's just to your main body. It is a melee attack, although it is kind of dive bombing, swooping at you. Would you like to make a defensive action?
By
Take a
melee
defensive
attack,
action.
I'm
Yeah,
giving
melee.
I'm given the impression that I can parry.
You can, although there is going to be a bit of a penalty, just because this thing has so much momentum. You're going to need a little bit more strength or skill to deflect it to one side. So you can roll to parry, but it'll be we're going to say a -2. There'll be a -2 penalty to your parry modifier.
Okay, parry with the vibro sword. Boom.
Okay, yeah, not a problem. Excellent. As this thing dive bomb and screeches towards you, you sheathe your vibro sword and flick it to one side, causing it with a squawk to miss you completely as it swoops back up into the sky, finishing its dive bomb strafing run. Lavin, your turn.
Oh. Well, I assume this thing's in melee range of me, right?
Yeah, kind of. It was kind of doing a swooping attack, so right now it's like 5 feet away from you as it's still moving away. But you could do a quick slash at it as it withdraws and turns around and tries to make another attack at you.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll say that's fair.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah, that does look pretty good, and since it's swooping away from you, it can't make a defensive action, so go ahead and roll damage. Uh, 16. Okay. You nick the top of its leg as it begins to withdraw and doing some damage. Good job. Patrick.
Whew. Yeah, I guess he was pretty occupied by this thing that just latched onto the thing he was hiding behind. I think he's
Well,
probably...
it didn't really. I want to make it clear. It didn't latch onto it. What it did, it was like a swooping dive attack, and what it did is completely missed you and just raked the blackened stump. So now it's like swooping away from you, and much like Lavin, it's about 5 feet away from you as it's continuing its movement. So it didn't move up to you, stop, and start attacking. It's kind of just, it's doing a drive-by.
Patrick is going to swap weapons and do a wild shot to this thing.
Okay. With what weapon?
With his shotgun.
Okay. What ammo's in it?
That is the fire burst thing. Hot lead, hot shot.
Hot lead. Yep. Okay, roll it. That's enough to hit it. Very similar to Lavin, since it's swooping away, it can't make a defensive action. Roll damage, but since that is magic techno-wizard ammunition, actually have it.
Yeah. Let me double check. Yep, that's that. Does it matter that it's coming from the holy weapon or anything like that?
I'll just keep that in mind. Roll your damage half as normal.
Should I have my holy?
For now,
Because it
yes.
Okay.
Quick mental math. Okay. Good job. You hit it, and there is you pepper it along its back with your hot shot, causing burning embers to rake across it and causing it to squawk out not squawk out, but moan out in harm. All right, top of the order. I'm gonna just say you keep hearing sounds of struggle with Lee. However, thankfully, it doesn't sound like any of his grunts or incantations or anything like that sound like he's in pain. From the brief sound of the melee nearby, it sounds like Lee's got the upper hand for now. If it changes, I will let you know. Tom.
Okay, this time I'm going to shoot at this thing. I am going to go for another eye shot, so this will be at a -9. And we'll see how it goes. $16.
Gonna try and dodge.
Don't forget I'm within 50.
I know it's within 50.
Okay.
I know it needs a natural 20. Oh, so close too, buddy. No luck. Roll damage.
21.
Top eye meets the bottom one. The center one, and becomes a. There's just a bloody hole now. This creature gives a horrible roar and charges towards you, Tom, deftly leaping over the small stone wall. It's only about 2 feet tall. As it charges towards you, and the first thing it does an aim swipe for your weapon with these long, powerful arms.
Okay.
Okay, your weapon is going to be a -2 to its strike, which still gives it a +4. That's enough to hit. Do you want to take a defensive action? Obviously, you can't parry with the weapon because that's what it's going for, but you could dodge.
Yeah, I'll try and dodge.
Okay. Roll it. And I'll use up your action there for you.
19.
Good job. Its swipe at your weapon hits air as you manage to move it to one side. And as you see the glistening claws on the hand of this thing, you thank your lucky stars, because the size and strength and sharpness of those claws makes you very nervous about the integrity of your weapon. That was Verasimov. The flying cultists swoop up into the air, turn around, and once again make their attacks on their original targets. So Patrick, first one towards you. Now what it's going to do is actually going to take an aim swipe at your head, which means your cover doesn't matter now because it's making a called shot to your head. The good news is that it has a -3 to do so, but it still gets a 12. Would you like to take a defensive action?
Patrick would like to actually just go for one of its wings at this point.
Okay, so you want to do a simultaneous attack then?
Yep.
Okay, simultaneous attack. Called shot to its wings, make it harder by 3.
3.
Yep.
Right. 3.
All right. Patrick simultaneous attack. Let's that turn.
1. Fuck.
And you miss, unfortunately. You do a quick desperate shot as it swoops on in, but misses. As it, however, strikes at your head. Luckily, you do have that magic field. So let's see how it does for damage. 10. A 10 SDC. Obviously, it'd be first to that magic shield, so take note. It's depleted by 10 SDC. As it is vexed by hitting some sort of magical barrier between you and it. Lavin, this creature is going to do very similar. Except that instead of going for your head, it's going to go for your weapon. It's going to try to go for your, try to swipe at and damage your weapon. Which gives it now just a -2 to hit. It gets a 0. Congratulations, it completely whiffs and misses. Lavin, your turn.
I'm gonna take a shot at the thing assaulting Tom.
Okie dokie. Do you want to just try to go for its main body?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do.
So then, if it's attacking Tom. So yeah, go ahead and roll hit. Okay, good. Excellent. There's no chance.
Wait. I'm sorry. I'm a bad person. I actually have
probably.
to reload.
Oh, you need to reload. Okay. Well, thank you for keeping track of your ammo.
This has never come up before. Does that take my action?
It takes just one action. Yes.
Okay, so basically, I'm reloading this round.
Yeah, you're reloading this round. Yeah. Okay. You know what? Thank you. You are because typically with you guys, combat is pretty fast. So you guys don't typically need to reload, but hey, first time for everything. Thank you for keeping track of your ammo. I know everyone does, but thank you in particular, Lavin, and for being honest. Patrick, your turn.
Piff?
Piffykins!
I need to do the same thing and reload my shotgun with 2 rounds.
Okie dokie, what rounds are you putting into it?
He's gonna try regular rounds, because it looks like the flames are not as grand as they once were.
That ward probably has something to do with it. Tommy Tom, your turn.
Okay, I would like to put away my rifle, which has only 1 round left, and take out my swords.
Okay. That will take an action.
Fantastic. I would like to use my other action to activate them. And to also activate...
And also activate what?
My Armor of Ithin.
Unfortunately, my friend, we have to be fair. I'm sure you probably wouldn't like it if this guy took 2 separate actions. So you can take out your weapons, but you can activate that in your Armor of Ithin next round.
Okay.
Because it's only fair that since this thing gets to attack next, it should have a chance to attack you without your Armor of Ithin on. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You spent your first action switching your weapons. Like sometimes we can do, actions one after another, but sometimes we just can't because otherwise, what stops you from taking all 4 of your actions at once and activating everything out, at the same time?
Okay.
Know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. Verasimov is going to 2 seconds. Oh. Besides, you might want to use this next action as a defensive round anyway, too. I might be doing you a favor. All right. It is taking a claw, and it is clawing at your helmet. Because you do have your body armor, right? So it's your head covering. It's going to be doing a called shot at that, which gives it just a straight 1d20. It's enough to hit. Would you like to take a defensive action? It's using its hands, its claws.
Okay, just to make sure I wasn't able to activate either of my swords.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna do for you. All right.
Mhm.
If you drop your gun and you take out your swords, right? You can
Mhm.
activate your swords to parry. You do not have time to activate Armor of Itham, though.
Yeah, that's all I'm looking for is the
All
parry.
right, that works for me. Yep, that's fair.
Fantastic. Then let me burn the 50 ISP really quickly.
Yep.
All right, then I will parry.
All right.
Come on. 33.
You have plus 15 to parry.
I have a plus 13 for swords, and this is my holy weapon as well.
All right. You parry it easily. Extremely easily. Fine cultist. Are we still gonna be okay time wise just to finish off this combat round, guys?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Levin, Patrick.
Sure.
This will be done. I mean, 10 minutes tops. This is gonna be quick. All right. 2 more flying cultist attacks. More sweeping towards Patrick, towards your head. That's enough to hit. Would you like to take a defensive action?
Patrick is just going to unload his shotgun.
So Simo.
Yeah. Simultaneous attack, and he will actually just fire his what is this even called? Basically, both barrels.
Okay. You're giving them both barrels. All right, roll to hit.
Yep.
Any particular area?
Um.
Or center mass?
I think he's going to go for center mass at this
Okay.
point. Let's see. 8.
All right, then just roll your regular to hit.
All right. And damage. I'm just gonna have the holy thing again.
All right, so your main field takes 9 more points of SDC.
Mhm.
And Patrick, you blow this thing fucking away. As it
Holy
swoops
shit.
down, mere moments after its claws scrape against your magical field, you have the perfect timing. You put both barrels right up against his chest, blow it, and in a shatter, this thing is thrown back several feet, a massive hole in its chest, as it gives a final shudder and dies on the putrid ground. Once again, its black blood flows into the darkened cracks and the stumps, and once again you can feel a shuffling underneath the earth itself. Lavin, it's once again going to swipe around, and it's going to go for your gun once more. Let's see how well it does. That's enough to hit. Would you like to take a defensive action?
Yeah. Do I have penalties
Okay.
to parry on this one? This is a melee attack, right?
Yeah, it's a melee attack. Yeah, you can parry it.
Looks pretty
Oh,
good.
shit. Good job. You expertly parry it aside. And in fact, since you critically succeeded, roll half your damage on your blade, and you're going to do that to it, too. Wow. Wait a second. Difference of 1, my friend. So, as it comes to swipe it and you parry it away, you manage to not only deflect its claw, but quickly, deftly move your vibroblade up towards its neck, nicking it considerably. And you got an artery. Its blood begins to pour down its neck onto its horribly mutated chest as it flutters a few feeble feet before crashing to the ground, shuddering and moving weakly moving away as more and more of its blackened blood spills to the ground. In a few more minutes, it will be completely and utterly dead, but it is mortally wounded right now. But as its blood falls into the deep cracks of the earth, you yourself can feel something moving underneath the crust of the earth. Shuffling, almost like it's rolling over in its bed. Well, that's it for the flying cultists. Lavin.
Okay. I guess since I'm no longer under attack, by the sounds of it, I will put the sword away and try and take another shot at the guy attacking Tom,
Okay.
which I believe is that.
Mm-hmm. Wow, okay. It is too busy in melee with Tom. Go ahead and roll damage. Okay. A hole strikes it right at the center of its rightmost bicep, creating a large hole in its scaly hide-like flesh. However, it does not completely pierce through, but it does leave a substantial wound on the creature. Tom.
Okay.
You can activate your armor Ithan and do something else, since the activation will just take a second.
I will do that. Let me use the rest of my ISP.
Okay.
I am now dry.
Alright, that's fine.
So, I would like to attack it with my Blacklight Blade, which is my Holy Blade. Let's see. That is +8. +8. To strike. 21.
It's going to attempt to parry you.
It does! That's my turn.
Alright, it knocks your arm aside. Okay. Alright, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
It's casting a spell at you.
Okay.
It is... Give me 2 seconds. Gotta just quickly look it up. Call it 2 seconds. Should I have this open already? My bad.
It's all good.
There it is. Perfect. I need you to save versus horror factor 14, please.
Okay. Let's see what I can do against that. I made 14.
You got a 14. Wow.
Yeah.
Tied to the defender as per my rules.
Oh, shit.
So, for a moment, outside of its mouth comes a complete spew of horrible spiders and bugs, and it looks like it's going to coat down its arm and move on towards you. However, in the last moment, you give your head a good shake and you realize that this isn't real. This can't be real. And thankfully, the illusion itself disperses. Last action of the round before we finish up for the night, Lavin.
One more shot at the big guy attacking Tom, right?
Yeah, sure.
Do
Go
it,
nuts.
buddy.
Don't want to lose our Tom. That would be bad.
That would be bad. Okay, roll damage, my friend. Okay, another shot, this time hitting across its scaly left pectoral. Once again, piercing through the skin itself, creating a substantial wound. This creature does look wounded, but still extremely determined. And with that, before the beginning of the next melee round, we will continue next week. Now, when good old Al shows up, we're going to have you guys continue on with this combat, but we might switch to Al and have him kind of do a nice little role play with him hunting down or chasing down Albert Swede or something like that. We'll see what we're in the mood for, what we can do creatively. But this combat will continue then.
Cool.
Exciting. Well, yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and I look very much forward to next week. Great job, guys, so far. I hope you make it out okay.
We'll have to see.
One guy
Next
fucking
time.
died.
Yeah, Marshmark, R.I.P., dude.
Yeah, dude. Damn. He was cool though.
He was
Anyways,
cool.
thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys next week. Don't forget to check out 3 Galaxies as well every Wednesday. Ta-ta.
Keyword was.
Yep.
All right, I'm out of here, guys. Catch you later.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks for hanging